Always streaming live on our Twitch channel and in full, robust audio right there at hornfm.com. Mr. Godbolt.
Good morning to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you so very much for what you do. It is appreciated. It's going to be a lovely day today. Maybe a little rain shower here and there, but really, really nice tomorrow.
Yeah, some overnight showers last night in some of the quadrant/regions of the country. But
cooler temperatures, but sunshine after today, which is nice.
It is nice. It's a little cooler this morning for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Not as humid as it's been for the week. But, yeah, could be some rain showers through your morning commute today as you get it up and out. And then should be lovely by this afternoon for sure. And as you said, maybe a chance for rain this weekend. But cooler temperatures into the weekend. And, man, it's already the second weekend of March. We're March 10th. We've got so much going on. The madness of March is here, certainly. The NFL free agency period next week, so a lot of reporting will be done over the weekend of who's going to trend where, and the Aaron Rodgers story, Lamar Jackson story, and, of course, next week locally, Buck, the rodeo's up and running out at Expo Center, South by Southwest. Gets cranked up next week, the Interactive Fest, so the Austin area is going to be buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
Buzzing, to say the least.
Couple weeks into NASCAR.
Yeah, man, NASCAR and Dell Match Play around the corner. So, busy Friday to get you going. And how are you doing? You ready to roll?
I'm doing great. I'm ready,
weekend?
man. I'm ready to get to some basketball, ready to get to some golf, of course, as the Masters approaches us. MotoGP just around the corner.
Yeah, man.
Love me some MotoGP.
Yeah, safe to say. And Longhorns looking good last night. They
D'd them up pretty well.
Took advantage of an offensively challenged and banged-up Oklahoma State team. But we'll talk about why that's such a big win here coming up. Let's get to the headlines. Trending topics for the Longhorns as we crank this thing on a Friday. UBO Business Services brings you the news you need to know. College basketball, impressive win for the 7th-ranked Texas Longhorns last night as they advanced to the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament with a 61-47 smothering of the 7th seed, Oklahoma State. That sets up a meeting for tonight with TCU in Kansas City. Longhorns locked in defensively from the jump. Holds the Cowboys to 47 points on the night. 5 Longhorns scored in double figures, led by Jabari Rice with 15. Dylan DeSue playing great down low, posted a triple-double, 11 points and 11 rebounds for Rodney Terry.
DeSue's been playing great for us down the stretch. He really has. He was rebounding the ball at a very high clip today, and rebounding was a big emphasis in this game here. Because Oklahoma State's really big up front, and they really crashed the board really hard. I thought he did a nice job for us in the first half and had some really tough rebounds in the second half as well. But, he needed to get some extended minutes. We knew Brock was going to have to play quite a bit as well, and CB. This is one of the biggest front lines in the Big 12.
Third win for the Longhorns over Oklahoma State this season, their 12th Quadrant 1 win on the year. That's the most by any team other than Kansas, and likely secures a number 2 overall national seed for the Longhorns when the brackets are finalized on Sunday. First things first, Texas and TCU will meet tonight in a semifinal matchup. That's after the 6th-seeded Horned Frogs upset 3rd-seeded K-State last night, 80-67 behind 22 from Mike Miles Jr. Top-seeded Kansas will face Iowa State in the other semifinal. That one tips at 6 o'clock. Then it's the Horns and Horned Frogs at 8:30 tonight. You'll hear it live here, of course, on the Horn. Top-seeded Texas women open play at the Big 12 Women's Tournament this afternoon in Kansas City, facing Kansas State in quarterfinal action. Horns just walloped the Wildcats in their regular season finale back on Saturday. They'll try to do it again. Game tips at 1:30 today. You can hear that over on 105.3 The Bad. One other note from Kansas City. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self will miss the rest of the Big 12 tournament from what the program has announced as a standard health issue. Top assistant Norm Roberts has stepped in his place. Texas football welcomed representatives from 32 NFL teams to campus yesterday. Everybody was represented. It was pro-timing day in the indoor bubble. 10 former Longhorn players there to meet with teams and go through physical testing, complete individual drills. In addition to 4 of the 5 who attended the NFL Scouting Combine this past weekend, 5 other Longhorns took advantage of the opportunity. Jaleel Billingsley, Daniel Trejo, Anthony Cook, Deshaun Jameson, Tariq Milton all worked out yesterday. The top-rated Longhorn prospect, Bijan Robinson, was on hand to support his mates and meet with team reps, but did not go through the workouts. Current Longhorns with the field again this morning. Spring practice number 3 will wrap up week 1 of the 6 weeks of training ahead of the Orange-White scrimmage on April 15th. Also on the 40 acres this weekend, busy one. Longhorn baseball will open a 3-game series with Manhattan tonight at the Dish. Game 1 set for 6:30 tonight. Texas softball will host the Bevo Classic starting this morning at McCombs Field, featuring the 10th-ranked Longhorns, 9th-ranked Alabama, Wisconsin, and Texas State as well. Tough news yesterday from the NBA. Word from Phoenix that Kevin Durant will be out 2 to 3 weeks because of a left ankle injury suffered in pregame warmups back on Wednesday. And in golf, little-known Chad Ramey is your leader after the first round of the Players' Championship at Ponte Vedra Beach. He fired an 8 under 64 yesterday on the tournament course at Sawgrass, 1 stroke better than Colin Morikawa. All right, busy Friday morning. Here we go. How about the Longhorns last night, Buck? They carried that defensive effort that they had against Kansas on Saturday right into the Big 12 tournament and smothered Oklahoma State last night, who were playing without their top playmaker, Avery Anderson. He's out with a wrist injury. We knew that going in, and Texas just locked them up. Got enough on offense because, Oak State was trying to ugly that game up and try to win with their defense, as you heard Rodney Terry talking about their size on the front line. Horns did play without Timmy Allen last night. Timmy Allen was a late scratch because of what they're calling a minor ankle sprain. So Timmy got out, and Jabari Rice got the start, and the Longhorns get a victory.
Yeah, I thought that opened up the middle a little bit more because Timmy plays in the middle of the paint. And for Dylan DeSue, I thought he, over the last 6 games, that guy's been pretty offensive-minded. I mean, that's not to say he hasn't played decent defense or got lots of rebounds. He's done a lot of rebounding. But offensively, that opens up the middle for him because he's not the swiftest guy when he gets in the middle, so he needs some bouncing and movement areas. And I think with Timmy not in there, I think it opened up the middle a little bit for Dylan DeSue offensively for his little jump hook and stuff like that. I thought he played well again, kind of all around. As I said, he's not the smoothest guy when he's in there, but man, he's got enough, shoulder strength and that upper body stuff to either get fouled or get to the rim, and he rebounds the hell out of the ball too. And I thought they played smothering defense. I thought they contested a lot of shots last night. Marcus Carr, he just not getting any elevation on his jumper. I mean, that ball is clanking off the rim. His legs looks like he's tired.
Well, that's been
on the offensive end.
Yeah, that's been about 2 weeks now for him, where it feels like he's not getting much oomph on his. It wasn't a pretty game. Oomph on his jump shot. Oklahoma State only made 14 of their 52 shots they took last night. Texas was 19 of 51. But I thought the quick start was great. It was Tyrese Hunter came out gunning. He looks like he's good, and that's the thing, right? I mean, Tyrese Hunter now, he says he's fully healthy now, and maybe through some of his slumps of January and into February that he wasn't 100% healthy but was gritting it out. Now he looks like he's healthy, and he and Jabari Rice are really working well together. And as you said, with Marcus Carr, played 40 minutes last night, but another 2 for 10 night from the field, scored 11 points. They need to.
And most of those were how many from the free? Would he only have one jump? Would he have one field goal?
He had 2 for 10 from the field goal, but he went 10? To the foul line 9 times. That's the one thing I think.
His body, he'll take you to the rim now.
Well, and he misses a lot of those little floaters these days, where he does that little stop in the lane. And he's been so good at that in his time here at Texas, but that's just not rolling in for him right now.
He's getting up like me.
Yeah, and so his shooting percentage the last 4 games, I have to look that up. It's not good at all. But yeah, that's late in the season legs. But look,
and the freshman came in and hit a couple jumpers.
Yeah, Arterio Morris.
He took a couple threes.
I agree with you. With Timmy Allen out, it kind of opened some things up and got Arterio into the game sooner. Front line did a nice job. It was an ugly basketball game, let's be honest. A lot of turnovers, 33, not a lot of made shots. But in the end, it was a double-digit win for the Longhorns. And as I said in the update, I think for most people, this secures the Longhorns on the 2 line when we get to brackets. I mean, that's 12 quad 1 wins. Only Kansas has more. I mean, their resume is complete. Now, they'll play TCU tonight and to get to the championship round. But again, I still think getting to a 1 seed for Texas is kind of an outside shot at this point, because I believe the committees, these tournaments don't mean a ton. I think they go more on the regular season these days over the last couple of brackets. And what you just said about Marcus Carr, Timmy Allen with an ankle, I'm not saying the Longhorns should lose tonight, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if they took their 9th loss and got home on a Friday night and had all week to get off their feet a little bit and get ready for the first round of the NCAA tournament. But you're playing for a championship. Competitors
you want to keep that. You want to keep that the move that you're having right now. Keep it going in the right direction, no matter what. I know you want to get some rest.
Sure,
and guys want to stay in the flow of the game.
Yeah, and that's I remember talking to Rick Barnes about that back in the day, kind of offline, and just it's like one of those things. Yeah, you want to keep going. Then you end up playing 3 games in 3 days, and you look up and your team's a little bit worn out, and especially in this conference after what you went through for 2 months. And the biggest games are next week. The biggest and most important games of your season, no matter what you say, are coming up. So you want to be at full strength there. And if you've already locked up one of the top 8 spots and one of those 2 seed spots, It's last night was a nice win to secure that.
But you sure would love to play Kansas even another time for a tournament championship.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I think so. But again, my mindset, I know people will criticize me for this. My mindset is the biggest games are next week and the following week. And the following week, you've already proven you can beat Kansas. You've already proven you're a really good team. These tournaments are for television and revenue, and I get it. But at the same time, they hand out a trophy. I know it's a championship, but, man, you can wear yourself out. And you need to get Marcus Carr back shooting the basketball well if you're going to go as far as your ceiling. You need to get Timmy Allen 100% healthy. And, but again, they're competitors. They'll show up. I don't know.
You got some young guys you can really give an opportunity to play.
And look, TCU, they're dealing with the issue with their head coach and Jamie Dixon, the Eddie Lampkin situation that we talked about yesterday. They went out and beat up on Kansas State. And Mike Miles. Texas and TCU are two of the oldest teams in all of college basketball, with veteran players and fifth and sixth year guys across the board.
Need a little break.
This will be a fun band. And K-State and TCU is pretty damn good basketball team. And of course, they split the home and home this year.
The only thing I'd like to see Dylan Dessou continue to play that offense that he's trying to get going right now. I like he's aggressive. He's aggressive when there's nobody in the middle with him. Because he likes to, he likes that couple bounces, get his shoulders on somebody, and I like the way he's playing offensively.
Hey, I agree with you. It just feels like he's playing confident, and which leads to aggressiveness, which leads to, he's not just getting, I think there was a point here in February where he said, I'm not just going to be a rebounder. I'm going to start I can score the basketball. Remember the game up at Baylor where they lost in Waco and he scored 24 points and he was knocking down threes. And we were like, that was the game where he said, you know what? I can score.
And he's doing that early in the game, too.
Yeah, we need more scoring punch. We need more than just our guards scoring the basketball. And, I think it's led to, him seeing the ball go in the hoop has helped him gain confidence in all phases of his game.
And they get the ball into him now. He demands the ball. He wants the ball.
It's like anything else. Once your teammates see you're making shots, and they'll give you the ball. And, he's, as you said, he's not the smoothest player. He's a little bit awkward with his game. He walks with the duck feet kind of thing, but he does. But he is a hard-working dude. He's a tough guy.
He'll get on the ground too. He'll get on the floor for balls.
Yeah, absolutely. This says, hey, Austin Airport is nuts this morning, guys. Hook 'em. Looks like a lot of Longhorns are going to make the trip up to Kansas City to support the Horns because you can go see the men and the women. Women play at 1:30 today. Men will play at 8:30 tonight. That's a pretty good schedule. You can see a game in the middle of the day. Go grab some dinner and still be.
Is this the South by Southwest crowd coming in too?
Coming in and going out. Coming in and going out. That says you play to win the game. Yes. Well, you also play the whole season to get to the tournament. And when you get to the tournament, you want to be playing your best. That's why I was saying I've talked to Rick Barnes about that and other coaches where, it's a tough spot for a coach. You don't want to downplay a game in the championship. But at the same time, you play the whole season. You do everything for next week. Everything's built around next week. And you've already, because the regular season is important. To hang a banner in your rafters because you won the Big 12 regular season is a huge deal. Kansas won that, and Texas women won one. But for me, these tournaments, you know me, we've been doing this a long time, Buck. They don't mean a lot. I know it's for automatic bids for the smaller conferences, but in the bigger conferences, they're for TV, and they're made for TV. And I get it. You play to win the game, but you also are playing for next week. So if they lose tonight, they're going to be a 2 seed. They get an extra night of rest, and they don't have to play the game against Kansas on Saturday. It's one of those, I think it's a catch-22 conversation. But we'll be watching tonight, 8:30, Texas and TCU. Also last night around the country, Buck, you saw North Carolina take a tough loss. Are they going to make it in?
For them.
Are they going to get in? Bubble might have burst for the remember, this was a team in North Carolina that began the season number 1 in some preseason polls.
They have one quad one win, and they got it against Virginia in the last 3 games.
And they've been put on notice about how their efforts have been for the last 4 weeks. They need to win some big games.
How do you go from number 1 preseason to out of the top 70? One quad one win. Incredible with that one. Marquette got a big win in overtime for Shaka Smart. I just know when we get to the bracket Sunday, and that's a good time for a reminder, we're going to have a special bracket reveal show here on the Horn at 5 o'clock on Sunday. I'll be a part of it with Zay Collier. And are you coming in for this, Ty? You going to jump in here with us?
I might be calling in. I think Patrick Davis
will be here, and we're going to, as the bracket is revealed on CBS, we will follow it. And obviously, as soon as we know where the Longhorns go, we'll be able to talk about their draw, the matchup and check in down on campus with Rodney Terry and the Longhorns, who will be waiting. Of course, the Texas women very well may be flying back from the women's tournament if they make it to the championship game on the women's side. So we'll have that fully covered. That's 5 to 7 right here on the Horn on Sunday evening. So set your alarm and remind yourself while you're watching it revealed on CBS, you can listen to us and get Zay Collier and Patrick's thoughts, mine on how the bracket lays out. But I'm just feeling that they're going to put the Longhorns in the same bracket as Marquette. Could you see that? I mean, that Texas could have, and I've seen some mock brackets that are the bracketologists that already have the Longhorns in the same bracket with Marquette and Tennessee, where the Longhorns are the 2 seed, Marquette's the 3 seed, and like Tennessee's like the 4 or 5 for Rick Barnes. That wouldn't be unlike the NCAA to do it, but it would be kind of cool to see the Longhorns.
Well, they love the storylines anyway.
The storylines are good, man. TV, no doubt.
I'd take Shaka in the tournament.
Well, yeah, I will take my chances with Shaka Smart in the tournament. That's not been his. Well, since his Virginia Commonwealth days, it has not been his strong suit for sure. So there's some hoops. We'll certainly talk about it. Your thoughts on the Horns and where they stand. Rodney Terry getting it done. Longhorns with 24 regular season or wins now on the full season. 8 losses. They'll play TCU tonight. This says, I'm close to turning in my Texans fan card. We'll get into some NFL coming up. Yeah, the Texans got docked a draft pick yesterday, a 5th-round pick. For what they called a salary cap violation, the league did. The Texans argue that. They think it was not a lot. But either way, Texans lost the 2nd pick of the 5th round. That was rescinded by the league yesterday. But the NFL did announce their annual compensatory picks yesterday, where they hand out as kind of rewards. If you lose a key free agent, like a designated free agent, they'll get you a draft pick, try to help fill the roster back. And then, the one of the incentives over the last half decade for the NFL has been to incentivize organizations to develop minority candidates who become coaches, right? Head coaches or general managers.
General managers, yeah.
And the San Francisco 49ers, before yesterday, were sitting with 4 draft picks. 4 draft picks in this draft in April, 48 days from today. They now have 11. They were awarded 7 compensatory picks yesterday, and 3 of them are in the 3rd round, which is at the end of the 3rd round, which is top 100 picks.
Wow.
And the reason for it is that they've developed coaching candidates, Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel, now DeMeco Ryans, Martin Mayhew's now the general manager of the Washington football team. Rand Carthon just got hired as the GM of the Tennessee Titans.
Also includes females moving up in your organization.
Yeah, the minority hiring push, but really just giving minorities an opportunity to rise within the front office and rise on your coaching staff. And clearly, no one's done that better than Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and the 49ers, because they were awarded, like 3 third-round picks for their efforts. And again, they've done a nice job there. So the Cowboys picked up 3 picks yesterday. For free agents that they lost. Texans picked up. How about this? The Texans, remember they coughed up the number 1 overall pick?
Yep.
Now they own the last pick. They were awarded Mr. Irrelevant pick. Whether they draft, so the Houston Texans will get to draft the last player of the draft now. Pick number 260. They can find their Brock Purdy. Maybe, yeah, because they're probably going to take a quarterback at the top. They could go and take another quarterback at the bottom if they needed to. So, yeah, NFL's out there. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers story continues to be of very much interest to a lot of folks. And that became a big topic yesterday, Buck, as I was listening and driving around and then watching yesterday. The New York Jets are under the microscope because they're chasing a almost 40-year-old quarterback, are going to give up draft capital to get him and give him a lot of money.
Well, that's the owner who wants that instant gratification.
Well,
and he wants that. And
then the question obviously doubles back to a conversation we've held all week. Should they instead be chasing Lamar Jackson and then, chase a 26-year-old quarterback who has his best years to come? That's an interesting debate, because some think it's nonsensical to chase a 39-year-old QB when you could have a 26-year-old quarterback at a similar price, by the way, as far as a year-by-year and for what you'd have to give up to get him.
They like headlines in New York, and any news is good news in New York, and Aaron Rodgers will give you a lot of headlines.
You don't think Lamar Jackson would bring headlines to New York City?
Well, I mean, I think he would with his play, but Aaron Rodgers brings you that weird New York-style kind of media hype, you know what I mean? He'll be there. He'll be fighting with the media. I mean, and plus he can win. I mean, I think Lamar can win regular season things, and I mean, he's a long-term guy. Aaron Rodgers, to me, is still just maybe a 2-year player.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's the debate in New York, is why would you want a short-term guy for the same amount of money and capital. And, obviously the Lamar Jackson deal will be much longer than anything you do with Aaron Rodgers. But interesting debates, the quarterback carousel. And guess what? In our daily Days of Our Quarterback Lives conversation, there's a new quarterback to discuss. Because according to multiple reports today, teams have been calling the L.A. Rams about Matthew Stafford. Quarterback star of teams are now ringing up Sean McVay and Les Snead in L.A. and saying, hey, is Matthew Stafford on the block? Because there's a guy, who was it? Michael Lombardi, the NFL reporter, former general manager in the league. He had a comment this week that Matt Stafford is fully available. Said it on the Pat McAfee show Thursday.
Well, I'm Matthew Stafford. You're going to pay me my almost $60 million I'm hanging around. I've got a Super Bowl. I've already pushed somebody off the stage, and you owe me $60 million?
Yeah.
Come on, man. What do I
did
do?
Push a lady off the stage.
Do I need to play? Do I need to play, or do I need to collect that $60 million that you people owe me? Plus, I'm wearing a ring. Plus, I tripped the lady off the stage. Come on. How much fun can you have?
You're brutal, man. Yesterday we were talking about the legendary Jim Boeheim. All you could talk about is him killing some guy in a terrible accident.
That was an accident. That was a terrible accident. That was a terrible accident.
Matt Stafford didn't push the lady off the stage. She fell off the stage. Now, he didn't help her when she went down.
He didn't run to her rescue, I'll say that.
He looked at his wife and said, you handle that. I got to go over here. But, yes, they
owe him some money.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that the quarterback star of team won't trade for him and pay him his money. But I think this is an interesting comment from Michael Lombardi, who's usually pretty damn tied into the NFL. Matt Stafford is fully available, he said yesterday. They would love to trade him. They can't easily do it because he's got $57 million guaranteed, but they're trying to get out from it. They've called teams, I know this. So, again, now would that indicate that, A, the Rams have won their Super Bowl and now they're trying to reboot? Or remember, what was the issue with Matt Stafford?
It tells me, A, that his shoulder is still not healthy.
Neck.
It's his elbow? It's his neck now?
He has like a spinal injury.
Okay,
I've been telling you all.
That's what it tells me. It tells me he's not ready to throw the ball.
Or Baker Mayfield. Trying to bring him back, moneymaker.
Baker, who finished up the season there. Well, look, they did. They were proud last year when they were celebrating after winning the Super Bowl with the F them picks things, but they would love to have them picks right now because they're upside down on the cap, and they don't have any way to fill out the roster here. They're too expensive, and they don't have draft capital to bring in cheap labor, which is what the draft's all about. You look at the draft this year. Number 6 overall is Detroit. That's their pick. That's the pick they gave up to get Matthew Stafford and use Jared Goff to help get it. They'd love to have that pick back, but they don't have it. So if they can recoup it with a Matthew Stafford type trade, potentially, so we'll watch that now in the Days of Our Quarterback Lives. Remember, Monday is the day that the legal tampering period begins, and then the league year opens next Wednesday, and it'll be the flurry of activity of free agency and all that comes with it. So we'll certainly be all over it right here on B&E.
He just looked different last year. I mean, when he was throwing the ball, his shoulder, arm, elbow, or whatever it was, he wasn't the same thrower.
No, he was not. Remember, they had him on a pitch count during camp, and
he never became the same.
And if you look at their cap and their roster, they got issues. I mean, they've got issues. They got really expensive players: Darren Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, a lot of expensive dudes, and then not a lot of cheap. Look, the NFL this draft when the 49ers pick up 7 compensatory picks yesterday, that's a big deal. That's cheap labor. I mean, you're drafting young players to.
And you get good. I'm talking about good players there too.
To build depth, and they're cheap. They're affordable. This next phase of free agency, when you start giving big contracts to guys, that's when you get expensive. Now the 4-year rookie deals are pretty affordable, and as much of that as you can have to round out your roster and build depth around your star players is what the good teams are built on. But it's
you've got to coach. I mean, you've won a Super Bowl. You want to continue on that course while you have some of those players. While Aaron Donald and people like that are still around. This is about getting to the Super Bowl again for them.
That's the catch-22, right? I mean, you credit them because they went all in and they traded picks for Jalen Ramsey, they traded picks for Matt Stafford, they traded picks for
they won a Super Bowl. That's right.
They won a Super Bowl.
How long is the Super Bowl good for with an organization?
5 years.
I would agree.
And I think
I wanted to say 3, but I think you're right. 5 years. 5 years is long enough.
Listen, if you're Jerry Jones, 25 years would be the answer to that question.
No, lifetime.
But
still seeking that,
But I mean that's what fans can answer that own question in their own head. But yeah, the Rams won a Super Bowl, but now there could be a few years of rough patches because you went all in. Not only did you trade for Matt Stafford, Jalen Ramsey, you also traded for Von Miller to just secure the deal, and you won it.
You're right.
The tough part is if you do that and you don't win it, and you don't cash in on a championship, The Rams did, and so now they're going to have to rebuild. We'll see if Matt Stafford is a part of that reboot that's coming. I wouldn't call it a rebuild. I call it a reboot. And so what you need is draft picks.
Because you still have a Super Bowl coach.
Yeah, and you still have Aaron Donald, and you still have Cooper Kupp, and so there's some things in place, but you got to reboot it, and that's going to be the conversation, like the Packers are going to do, right? Packers have to, if they're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers and all the wins, but just won Super Bowl, they're going to.
That makes me feel good for my Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers leaving.
Yeah.
See ya.
We'll be back. We are just getting warmed up. Plenty of hoops, plenty of football, baseball. The weekend is here. Spring break here for a lot of folks around Central Texas, youngsters and the schools. That's a fun thing. Happy Friday on B&E. Roll it out, no doubt. It's a weekend that is here. Friday into spring break, Friday into spring forward too, Buck. Don't forget Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. Flip those clocks ahead.
I'm already sprung.
1 hour.
My watch is already sprung. I don't have to do anything to that watch. By the way, Garrett Wilson would be excited if Aaron Rodgers got to the Jets. I'll tell you that. Talking about a timing guy who runs timing routes and loves balls that get to him in a hurry and get on him in a hurry.
From an accurate thrower like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, I love the debate between, should the Jets be chasing Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers, because I think it's got arguments all over it. I mean, because everything you can say negative about Lamar Jackson, you can paint the negative about Aaron Rodgers, too. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
Are they a Super Bowl team?
With who? With both?
Are they a Super Bowl team with a good with a really good quarterback? Would they be considered a Super Bowl team? Would they be?
Well, I mean, they're the Jets.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You're right. I keep seeing people just say, "Who cares if they got Aaron Rodgers? They're still the Jets. That's who they are." But I'm thinking long term.
Well, they think they are, but Robert Saleh is an unproven coach. That has
They've done
to be
okay
said.
defensively.
I mean, their defense is excellent. Their defense is top 5, and the draft pick of Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati last year really solidified. He's the best young corner in the league. And go with a really good front, and
you got the Rookie of the Year.
And Robert Saleh is a defensive coach. And then on offense, it's about youth, right? It's about they've done a really good job drafting. They've got an improving offensive line. Before his injury last year, Breece Hall, the running back out of Iowa State, was looking like an all-rookie performer. Was playing great. Garrett Wilson. Elijah Mitchell.
So they get the piece. If they get the
Who's
puzzle,
the Ole Miss receiver they've got?
Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, if they get that all in place.
C.J. Uzoma is their tight end. I mean, they got
Corey
pieces.
Davis.
Corey Davis is a nice third receiver.
You're going to find out if Robert Saleh is a Super Bowl type of coach more than anything.
They cut Braxton Berrios yesterday to clear up $5 million in cap space. So that could be an indicator that they're trying to.
Oh, they're in.
Their money.
Woody Johnson's all in.
Yeah, he's all in.
Right.
I don't think there's any question about that. They're going after him.
He likes highlight. I mean, he likes guys like that. I mean,
he did the same thing with Brett Favre.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, these are media people. I mean, it's New York.
It's New York, and it's Woody Johnson, and he's a rich owner, and but that's what leads to the debate. Is this a good? Because if
he wants to be in the paper more than the Giants.
Well,
believe me.
Well, then they're not a Super Bowl team if the owner wants to be in the paper. If that's his goal, that's not a Super Bowl aspiration. And that's, this is history repeating itself. If you go back to when they brought in Brett Favre, the report, after the fact, it's been shown that Eric Mangini, the coach at the time, didn't want that. He didn't want it, Brett Favre.
And this is just my thought, but who's to say that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't play for 5 more years or 6 more years? If they win, I mean, I'm saying 2 years and done. I just know every year is going to be drama. Every single year at the end of the year, there's going to be, oh, boy, here we go. How long do we got to wait?
I'll only say this, and who's to say. In the history of this sport, there's been one player you can talk about who's played well into his 40s at a high level. One. So it's true. I think you still have to go on the norm that Aaron Rodgers, maybe last year was the beginning of him really hitting the downside.
Yeah.
Much like Brett Favre. And, maybe maybe the holistic life he lives and all the stuff he does.
Maybe the shrooms.
And the psychedelics. Maybe he plays well. But look, Tom Brady is the absolute all-time outlier, or someone who can play to that level deep into their 40s. And that's why I say the debate about Lamar Jackson is a good one, because Lamar Jackson's 26.
Yes.
And, for every negative you can say about Lamar Jackson, I can point out a positive. And it's not like Aaron Rodgers is an absolute sure thing at 39 years old. And that's an organizational debate. Look, people say that
Lamar hurts his knee. Aaron Rodgers hurts his thumb.
Well, and Lamar, he led the NFL in touchdown passes just a few years ago. Threw more touchdown passes than any quarterback in the league. So to suggest he can't throw is a misnomer. Has he been injured? And when you talk about this year's injury for Lamar Jackson, he could have played this year, but he didn't because they didn't give him a contract. He wasn't going to risk a little bit of a bum knee come playoff time. So that could be a knock for him, but it could also be a knock to the organization if you didn't take care of your franchise quarterback. And when he was a little bit gimped up at the end of the season, he wasn't ready to go. I love these conversations because there's really strong arguments on both sides of both of them. But it looks like the Jets are going after Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they don't look like a team that's quite right. No matter what quarterback plays. But I would rather go long term.
Me too. But at the same time, I see Woody Johnson's going to make that decision. And when I say history repeating itself, Eric Mangini didn't want Brett Favre. The owner did. It didn't work out. and Eric Mangini got fired, by the way. If you really read the tea leaves, Robert Saleh really wanted Derek Carr.
He did.
He wanted Derek Carr.
He wanted to get that done.
Now, but
You're
the
right.
owner rules, and he's a young coach, third year, going into his third year. Woody Johnson's going to get his way on this. But
He's the owner. You're
is
right.
this another example of the owner pushing for Aaron Rodgers when the coaches would have preferred Derek Carr at 31 years old to come in and run the show, bring that leadership? Because the one thing you know with Derek Carr, he's not going to bring drama.
No.
Aaron Rodgers is going to bring drama. He'll be the center of attention. I mean, Aaron Rodgers in the Big Apple.
But that's what Woody likes.
Yeah,
Woody likes that.
I think you're right.
Woody's like Jerry. I want him to be in the post or whatever every day.
Well, and look, we'll see where this Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers story goes. But, let me ask you this. I mean, where are you on the camp of Lamar Jackson's future? Because we see a lot of texts
He'll be
from
back
people.
with the Ravens.
We hear a lot of, but I'm talking about the future of his performance as a player. I mean, there was a 2-year stretch, 2019 and 20, when he played 2 healthy seasons where he threw 62 touchdowns over 2 seasons. Threw 62 touchdowns while running.
Yeah, I don't worry about
over
him.
1,000 yards.
If
in
he's
both
got
years.
good receivers and he's got a good offensive line and a decent run game, I think he's just fine. I don't worry about his running. I worry about his running. I worry about what he does for a living. In the long haul, or 17 games in the NFL.
And that's
will
the
he
question.
be there? Will he be there at playoff time? Will he be worn down?
Do you think he has the ability to lead a team to a Super Bowl?
Yes,
I do. With the right people around him.
Yes.
That means offensive line. That means wide receivers. Run. Things have to be kind of almost just right with him. But the dynamics of what he does for a living as a quarterback puts him at too high of a risk for me. You know what I'm saying? In long run, I'm just thinking that when you need him the most, he's going to be lame.
But I think, let me just say it this way. I believe that people are leaning on the last 2 years. 2021, he got hurt at the end of the year, but the entire team was hurt, if you remember, right? They were a really good team. They lost their top 3 running backs in training camp. Every player on the team.
So they don't even make it to the first game half the time.
Got hurt. And then, this year we know they entered the season with a bunch of holes, and then Lamar Jackson got hurt. But if you go back just to 2019 and 2020, when he threw for 62 touchdown passes and threw for nearly, 6,000 yards and rushed for over 1,000 yards in both seasons and was a complete video game freak, are we already saying that Lamar Jackson can't get back to that on the right team with the right group of players around him? I am really shocked at some of the tweets and texts and conversation we've had this week where Lamar Jackson is shot as a player at 26, who just 3 years ago was putting up historically great numbers.
I love him having these great great numbers, but I need him for the stretch. I need him for not just the season stretch,
Agreed.
but for the next year and the following year. What he does that makes him dynamic is also the thing that can get him crushed and crush your hopes as an organization.
I'm not.
It's just, are you willing to take that chance?
I guess what I'm saying is, what I've been shocked by is this. I'm not sitting here carrying the mail for Lamar Jackson. I'm just arguing.
I don't believe all that he can't throw stuff.
Well, that's the thing. It's almost like people have already said, well,
no.
He's not getting offered contracts because he's not any good. Well, what do you mean he's not any good? I mean, what have we been watching with this guy? He is at full health on a good team, one of the 3 or 4 most impactful players in the league.
No doubt.
And so, but now it's like, oh, no, he's not any good. It's over. He can't throw. I don't want a running quarterback. Well, Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. Justin Fields a running quarterback. I mean, this is where the league's going. The league's moving to that direction more than it's going the other way right now.
Still never worked, though, in 57 Super Bowls.
I will take.
Never been a runner. That's 1-1. And I know CB said yesterday that Russell Wilson. I don't consider Russell Wilson
He was both.
But he still has that Drew Brees, accurate ability.
And the thing that's making Jalen Hurts so dynamic is he's becoming both, right? He can run and kill you with his legs.
And Lamar Jackson slowly but surely has been doing all those things to be an accurate quarterback. And he works hard. He's a hard worker. He does that. But he's not surrounded by great talent.
Well,
like you said, there's been some.
That's my question with Lamar, is that how much of the last 2 seasons can you blame on the organization, injuries, and lack of weapons around him? I think those are fair debates. I mean,
I blame it on they've had some misfortune before the season even starts with guys getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like the running back from Ohio. I mean, they get hurt before they even start.
Right.
They're not healthy. They don't start the season out healthy.
And then he's been hurt at the end.
Then he gets hurt at the end. Yeah.
So I get that. And that's what makes it a great debate. But I'm not of the belief you just throw this guy out and he's not any good.
Oh, no.
I mean, Daniel Jones just got $160 million. Are you kidding me? Kyler Murray.
If your Texans decided to get Lamar Jackson, I'd be yes, go.
Well, when you were out Wednesday, I argued that.
Go for it.
My only because the Texans. Let me just present the Texans argument again. Houston has 2 first-round picks this year and 2 next year.
Yes.
They have 2 and 12 this year. They could give up 2 of those 4, sign Lamar Jackson, have a 26-year-old quarterback, and still have first-round picks each of the next 2 years and start to build around Lamar Jackson. The only reason I have argued against it is that if they hit on Bryce Young or they hit on C.J. Stroud, now you've got a young quarterback on a rookie contract, which I think is a really, fruitful
now you
thing
really
for
can build your team.
Yeah,
up.
now you can build your team, but you got to hit on that quarterback. And the one thing about Lamar Jackson is he's more of a proven commodity than anybody coming into this draft.
True.
But it's, I think it's a good debate. And
once again, guys.
I guess I've been surprised how little people think of Lamar Jackson. It's like, really?
Well, they don't think he's a
scrub?
thrower. No, he's not a scrub.
Well, he led the NFL in passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
He threw 62 in 2 seasons.
He's got to have more than just a tight end
yards,
to throw to.
He threw for 3,100. Okay.
I've just seen a text that said he's only thrown for over 3,000 yards one time.
That's correct. But he also ran for over 1,000 yards in those seasons.
And I'm not saying that he's a bum or he sucks. I'm just saying it takes it, just like Justin Fields and just like Jalen Hurts. You got to put the perfect situation around him for him to succeed. He's never going to elevate an offense on his own, which he's shown because he hasn't had much.
I would say the start would be a place like the Jets with the receivers, the young receivers.
Well, that's
like
right.
That.
I mean, that's the argument for New York. Big Apple. You got young talent. But
you and I can want him, but Woody's not. Woody wants somebody. Woody wants a guy who's going to be savvy with the media. He wants that. He wants that in New York City.
Aaron Rodgers savvy with the media?
Well, he's going to be in the media. I mean, he's going to be in the newspaper.
I guess I'm more of a Lamar fan. And I don't. I mean, you said it's never happened in any Super Bowl, but I mean, Russell Wilson ran. Cam Newton got his team there. Jalen Hurts had his team there at the precipice of a Super Bowl, and I think the league's moving more to that than away from that. It's going to happen, and where a quarterback who wins a Super Bowl, that's going to be in the future in the near time.
Dude, I call our guy at Kansas City. I call him a running quarterback.
When he needs to. Well,
he can go.
And Patrick Mahomes is at a whole different level, and that's the thing. This guy may dominate the Super Bowls for the foreseeable future, as good as he is.
Maybe
but
say
there's a minute and a half left in the game though, and you're on your own 20, and you got to score. Like, I don't trust Lamar Jackson to be able to get the ball down the field.
I trust him more than I trust Dak Prescott.
I mean, they're about on the same level to me. I still trust Dak more as a passer. He's been a more prolific passer his entire career.
Dak Prescott's been in that exact scenario twice in a row and hadn't been able to move his team down the field. Fair. 2 straight years in the playoffs, winnable game, need a drive, couldn't give it to you. And Lamar Jackson's worth more than Dak Prescott for me as far as a quarterback contract would go. But that's the great debate. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, NFL. We'll come back. We'll talk more Texas football. Also, here's another story hitting the newsstands that the Big 12 is ready to pounce on the 4 corner schools out of the Pac-10 as doubt creeps in about the Pac-12's viability. We'll get you details. It's B&E on the Horn. What is that, Ty?
Oh, ABBA.
Oh, the reboot.
Is that the new
ABBA? Is it ABBA or ABBA? What do we go with?
ABBA.
ABBA. Okay. That's a B&E fact of the day. It's ABBA, not ABBA. And is that a new one or a classic?
It's a classic.
Hey, some other B&E facts of the day. Doesn't look like Kevin Durant's going to play again in the regular season in the NBA. That's all right. They brought him there for the postseason.
True.
Twisted his ankle, and he's going to be out 3 weeks. And, of course, the regular season wraps up coming up in April, and they'll be into the postseason.
Kevin needs to get to fall school, too. That's a weird injury.
Yeah,
in your little warm-up.
I can relate. I'm clumsy. I did that. I've done that many times. Just roll the ankle. Not good.
Like I said, it won't matter. They'll be rolling him out in a wheelchair shooting three-pointers 20 years from now.
Tom Brady's age.
I know.
Also, on a fact of the day, the Longhorns will have their third practice this morning, 8 o'clock, over at the fields on 35 there, the Dinius Fields. And it's also a fact now that Cedric Baxter Jr., the Longhorn freshman running back, he's going to go by CJ. So we can start calling him CJ Baxter.
I like that.
CJ Baxter. That's the official term. It's on the roster now.
Because I would be calling him a freshman dude forever.
CJ.
Like I call the other guy who's there, Brooks, I call him the hernia guy.
Jonathan.
Hernia guy.
You just go to the worst case for every play, like Jim Boeheim, murderer.
Well, a hernia guy, he's got surgery, right?
Matt Stafford, great quarterback, great dude, father.
Tripper.
Threw that lady off the stage.
He tripped her. He didn't
Jonathan
throw her.
Brooks, player of the year.
Hernia
guy.
The other guy, Jaden Blue, don't know. Haven't seen him play before.
Mystery. Enigma.
Enigma guy.
No, what is it? A mirage.
Yeah, but I believe with the young freshman, what is it? CJ, what is it now?
CJ Baxter.
CJ. I think him being integrated in with Brooks is going to be an awful lot of fun. Because I like Brooks. I think his coach is going to get more out of him than you think. He runs big. I think he makes really good cuts. I think he's got outstanding speed. He can run away from you. I truly believe he can once he gets out, you can't catch up to him. He's big and strong enough. And plus, another year with this offensive line, I don't know if they're going to run more. I don't see it.
But I think they'll be able to. But I still think
effective.
they can run effectively because I think if Steve Sarkisian's number one offseason goal offensively is achieved, and that's making the passing game better, then that's going to make defenses have to play back more. And boy, if you scenario of having Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, and Isaiah Nair or Jordan Whittington in a three-receiver set with Jadavion Sanders and a more experienced quarterback and more confident quarterback in Quinn Ewers, defense, who are you going to double? I mean, defenses are going to have to play safeties back, which if your offensive line is improved as you anticipate, with just experience and another year in the weight room and whatever, well, now all of a sudden your run game without the dynamic backs is I thought because defense just have to honor the passing game. So
I thought Whittington should have carried the ball as a ball carrier more last year. If you were going to find ways to get it to him, those short screens, let him go in fly motion, give him the ball. I mean, that's not everything has to be 20-yard runs.
Agreed. Well,
I think he's a tough runner. I believe he can be just as effective.
Well, I think in the wake
in your
of
toss
the
sweep game.
In the revelation of the Xavier Worthy hand injury, it further indicts Steve Sarkisian as he continued to treat Xavier Worthy as the same player with a broken hand instead of doing some of the things you're saying, using Jordan Whittington more, featuring other players more often. You got a guy with a broken hand.
Plus, I believe they got a running back coach. If they have a hot player, I know that whole thing with Bijan and Roshan, it's almost like you felt like you had to give Roshan a bunch of these carries. I believe if they get a hot hand guy, even if he's a freshman, if Cedric Baxter is that guy, that commodity guy, that freshman out there in the nation, I believe if he gets on a roll, you just keep him on a roll.
They don't need to worry about hurting anyone's feelings.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. I would agree. And
I think that coaching staff is gone. I think that was Tom Herman. I don't know if it was just his idea of rotation or keeping people happy or whatever. But Steve Sarkisian's a believer in, if you're my best player, you're going to be my best player. If you win that spot on the depth chart, and that would go back to Xavier Worthy. If Xavier Worthy had a hurt hand, but he said he can go, he going. Which there's criticism there, but there's also, you're my guy. So, I believe whoever earns that starting running back job, the RB1, is going to get a majority of the carries, and they'll split the rest. But
the hot RB, the guy who's in there, if he's hot, okay, you just let me ride with you, whether you're a freshman or not. If you make some outstanding plays, continue to make those plays.
Now, does the same thing go for the quarterback position? If Quinn struggles and
well,
maybe
we saw him
I don't
stick
want
with
to play. I don't want to play rolling quarterbacks. I would think by
Well, if Quinn Ewers looked like next year like he did in some of the games this year,
well, no. Then
I think you may have to consider because I still think they could have won two more games if Hudson Card gets an opportunity in some of the second halves of the games where it felt like the world was going way too fast for Quinn Ewers.
I just hope this team offensively just figures it out and wins those games that they should have been winning last year.
Sure, that's a fair point.
Coach,
also
figure it
on
out.
the B&E fact of the day, the WWE, which you and I neither of us watch wrestling. Ty, you watch wrestling?
No.
That's all for 3 then. But they're reportedly exploring ways to legalize betting on high-profile wrestling matches.
On a drama?
The fix is in.
I mean, I know other people think the NFL is scripted, but come on, this is scripted. We know it is.
I don't know how you do that.
Vegas would never take the bets. Somebody knows the script. Somebody wrote the script.
Somebody will be sleeping with the fishes there.
Come on,
That's
man.
what's going to happen there.
You think Vegas would ever take those bets?
No.
There's no way. No way.
I can't see it.
All right, more B&E facts of the day coming, including Rory McIlroy, your pick to win the Players, not having a good day yesterday. Rory shot 76. Also,
I didn't even know he was actually playing yesterday. I was asking my wife. I said, Rory, I don't see his name in here anywhere.
76.
Oh.
12 back of the leader who you've never heard
We got to
of.
make his run today.
Also, we'll get to the performances of the UT players at Pro Day yesterday, Pro Timing Day, plus more on this Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers debate, Longhorn basketball into the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament. We are loaded on a great Friday. There it is, Viking Fence, the premier fence company in Austin, Texas, throughout Central Texas, and they have been for 50 years. You know, there's some things that are opinion, but I can tell you this. The idea that Viking Fence is the premier fence company here is proven fact over and over again. All you got to do is do your little research here, do your deep dive. Viking Fence, no one in this market has a cedar mill like they have. They've invested in that. They can mill the Western Red Cedar, 3 different grades to any specification or design standard, and it's just the better and the best type of wood for a wood privacy fence for your home or business. It really is. And they don't need to go down to the lumber yard or the big box store to get their wood. They do it right there on their premises in their own lumber mill. They also stain that wood ahead of time with their pre-staining equipment. And that's the same thing they've done for their iron fences and gates. They have their own fabrication, custom iron facility with the bending equipment and the forging capabilities, everything you need, plus the on-site fabrication facility for any kind of residential commercial gate or fence that you need. It's just that no one's invested like that into the type of fence and that you need, the quality of fence that you want, and the value of fence that you're looking for, so no one can match what they do. That's why they put the longest warranties in the industry. That's why they stand behind their fences. They're insured and bonded, and they've been doing this since 1972, and they're still locally owned and operated. Why wouldn't you call Viking Fence? 837-6411, the phone number. It's 837-6411. Find them online at vikingfence.com. And always remember, when you think fence of any kind in Austin, Texas, think Viking. Beginning on a Friday, busy one, a lot to do. Longhorn hoops, impressive last night. They are into the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament. Defense continues to be the staple. Carried that Kansas defense they played last Saturday right into Game 1 of the Big 12 tournament. Did it without Timmy Allen. We'll get you details here from Rodney Terry. Also, Texas women open up play in their women's tournament today. Pro Day over at UT, the Pro Timing Day. All 32 teams had representatives there to watch 9 Longhorns work out. No Bijan Robinson, though. He was there. Just wasn't working out. Everyone else.
Rooting on his teammates.
I was surprised to see Roschon Johnson didn't attempt to run the 40 again. He was happy with his 4.58 from the combine and did all the other workouts and told you he's already had an individual meeting with the Cowboys. Who, as we told you yesterday, if you're looking for the Cowboys, everybody will talk about who they're going to pick with their number 1 pick. If you're paying attention, then you got to find out who the Cowboys are going to draft in the 4th round. Because the Cowboys have now placed their franchise player tag on their 4th round pick 4 straight years, 4 straight off seasons. It was Dak Prescott twice, then Dalton Schultz, and now Tony Pollard, all drafted in the 4th round. So that's about where Roschon Johnson is projected. Wouldn't you love to see the Cowboys grab him in the 4th round and let him come in and replace Zeke Elliott? As a hard-nosed running back alongside Tony Pollard. That'd be nice to see.
I can't wait till today to tell my daughter how that Island Green at number 17 at Sawgrass wouldn't bother me. It's that one.
Were you going to call her and tell her that?
Yeah, I'll let her know. She'll say, no, Dad, you're going in the water 5 straight times.
Is that the only reason you're going to call her? Is just to tell her that Island Green wouldn't bother me?
No, that's the only reason I'm going to call her.
You know who was picked in the 4th round last year for the Cowboys?
Who?
My guy. Jake Ferguson.
Jake? See, there you go.
Maybe a few years down the line.
Jake, the Hall of Famer Ferguson. Yeah.
Turd Ferguson. No, I mean.
Oh, come on.
Come on. It's because of the Saturday Night Live sketch. What I think about every time he says Jake Ferguson, I think Turd Ferguson.
Ferguson.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I saw a guy making an 11 yesterday, E.
Oh, man. On that green?
No, not that green. It was, somebody tell me, was it the par 5 or the par 4 where the water's to the left and they just try to hook it around? He just hooked it. Dead hook 3 times into the water. I mean, he didn't make, I think he was 8 when he made landfall. I mean, that was.
And he played it out for you, all you hackers out there. Don't just put your triple
come
bogey
on.
max. Go ahead and play it out.
Keep the pace of play going. You should
pick it up.
If a professional.
Right? Shouldn't he just tell the caddy, we're going from here to the car. We're going to save on some money at the hotel. We're not going to be here for the weekend. Let's just keep moving. He
By the way,
played that 11 out.
Can I say that I'm making my way through the Netflix series Full Swing, the PGA Tour behind the scenes series. It's really good. And I made it through episode 4 now, which is because they've done, the first episode was all about Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, essentially, and then Justin winning his first major at the PGA Championship last year. Then it was about Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler, where essentially the focus is there, and Brooks's fall and Scotty Scheffler's rise. And then they did a full episode really on Ian Poltergeist, including him tearing up ACC's locker room after losing at the Dell Match Play, which was pretty good, and and he was off to the Live Tour. And the last episode, number 4, was about Joel Damon. Joel Damon, really, it was
the big hat.
The big hat. It was a really great episode. I mean, if you watch one, you'll enjoy it because it tells the plight of just an average golfer. Who, his mother died when he was a teenager, and it really threw him for a loop. And he had to battle testicular cancer at a young age as well. And it's an amazing.
And he's still out there too.
Well, and he, people who know him say he should be a top 25 kind of player, but he doesn't believe in himself. It's really incredible. Like he's a really good golfer. He just has no confidence. He has no belief that he should be considered among the Rory McIlroys and Scotty Schefflers of the world. It's pretty funny. But he and his caddy are like best buddies since they're kids, and it's pretty good. To your point of, let's just go get in the car. His caddy would say that. His caddy would look at him and go,
hey, let's go.
You want somebody else to carry your bag the rest of the way? You suck.
You're sucking today. I mean,
it's
3
in
the water, man.
It's a really good episode.
Awful to watch.
It's a really good
episode. Now,
episode.
I've had a 12. I wanted to count a hole one time. I wanted to count where I was struggling. I said, I really want to count this. I'm playing this out. I don't care pace of play. I'm playing that. I got a 12. So I was waiting for this guy to get just a dozen. Give me a dozen. He got 11.
Made you feel good about yourself a little bit?
Made me feel terrible for him.
Come on, man. All right, let's get to your headlines, trending topics, get you in the know as you're up and out on a Friday morning. UBO Business Services presents it and brings it to you. College basketball, impressive win for the 7th-ranked Longhorns last night at the Big 12 tournament. They advanced to the semifinals with a 61-47 smothering of 7th-seeded Oklahoma State. Longhorns will meet TCU tonight in KC. Longhorns were locked in defensively the whole game. Started really from the start. 5 Longhorns scored in double figures. Jabari Rice led them with 15. Dylan DeSue posted a triple-double with 11 points and 11 rebounds. In the third win over Oklahoma State this season, it's the 12th Quadrant 1 win as defined by the quad system, which is the most by any team in the country other than Kansas. Likely secures, for most experts, a number 2 overall national seed for the Horns when the brackets are finalized on Sunday. First things first, though, Horns will play TCU tonight in a semifinal matchup. 6-seeded Horned Frogs upset K-State last night, 80-67. Behind 22 for Mike Miles. Top-seeded Kansas will face Iowa State in the other semi at 6 o'clock tonight. Horns and Horned Frogs at 8:30. You'll hear it live here on The Horn. One other note from there, Kansas will not have their basketball coach Bill Self for that game tonight or the remainder of the Big 12 tournament. He is out for what the program has called a standard health issue. Top assistant Norm Roberts is stepping in his place. Top-seeded Texas women will open play in the Big 12 women's tournament this afternoon, 1:30, facing K-State. You can hear that game over on 105.3 The Bat. We'll get into UT Football Pro Day, which happened yesterday at the Bubble. All 32 NFL teams were represented, and 10 Longhorns went through the workouts. We'll get you details coming up. Also, on the 40 acres this weekend, how about the baseball team? Going to open up a 3-game series with Manhattan tonight at Dishwall Field. First game set for 6:30. Game 2 tomorrow at 1. Sunday's finale set for a noon first pitch. Softball is going to host the Bevo Classic starting this morning at McCombs Field. Features the 10th-ranked Longhorns, also 9th-ranked Alabama, Wisconsin, and Texas State in a really good field. Tough news from the NBA yesterday. Word from Phoenix that Kevin Durant is going to be out 2 to 3 weeks because of that left ankle injury he suffered in pregame warm-ups on Wednesday. And in golf, little-known Chad Ramey is your leader after the first round of the Players' Championship at Ponte Vedra Beach. He fired a smooth 8-under 64 yesterday on the tournament course at Sawgrass, a stroke better than Colin Morikawa. This says, hey, E, I watched episode 4 last night too, and yes, hilarious, rooting for him now. Yeah, Joel Damon.
Big floppy hat.
Yeah, well, he wears that because he had cancer.
Yes.
He had testicular cancer, and his mother died of pancreatic cancer when he was like 18 years old.
I think he wears long sleeves and that hat. He doesn't mess around.
He is an interesting cat, man. He and his that's cool. That's the kind of stuff you love to learn behind the scenes. And what you learned in that episode is that he, 10,000 people or so try to qualify for the U.S. Open because it's an open tournament. So they have U.S. Open qualifiers all over the country. Last year at the U.S. Open that Matthew Fitzpatrick won at Brookline, he qualified at a course up in like Idaho, where he's from, to make it. He had to qualify on a 36-hole day of golf, qualified, and ended up finishing 4th, which is what makes that tournament so great. It's open to all. You could go qualify for the U.S. Open.
Absolutely.
That's what made the Tin Cup movie so good. And you're telling me a guy went 10 Cup yesterday at the
Dude went 10
Players?
Cup. I mean, 3
11?
in the water. I mean, take your iron out and at least just get onto the grass.
Come on.
He just tried to hook it around. And
McAvoy.
It wasn't in, splash down, hitting 8, E.
Hitting
How do you like that?
8. Something you never like to hear on a golf
No.
course.
You'd already picked up.
Drinking your 8th, maybe.
Yeah, your guys would be saying, pick it up, please.
Hey, let's dive into our Coach's Corner. It's brought to you by Audio Visual Consultations. That's avconsultations.com online. All right, some people asked who we were talking about with the golfer. Joel Damon. Joel Damon is his name. Hey, how about Rodney Terry last night? Longhorns get a big win. Let's hear from Rodney. It was a defensive effort. They picked it up from the Kansas game where they locked up the Jayhawks for 40 minutes. They did it again last night against a offensively challenged and injured Oklahoma State team, but 47 points. Pretty good on defense, and just got enough on offense from guys working hard, including Dylan DeSue. Here's Rodney Terry talking about the big man from Pflugerville and how he's really come on of late for the Longhorns.
DeSue's been playing great for us down the stretch. He really has, and he was rebounding the ball at a very high clip today. And rebounding was a big emphasis in this game here because Oklahoma State's really big up front, and they really crashed the board really hard. I thought he did a nice job for us in the first half, and had some really tough rebounds in the second half as well. But he needed to get some extended minutes. We knew Brock was going to have to play quite a bit as well, and CB. This is one of the biggest front lines in the Big 12.
Yeah, big front line.
Yeah, DeSue's he was a very aggressive lad. He's been aggressive for the last 6 ball games. he's been getting after it. And I just thought last night with Timmy Allen out, he had more space. There was more space for him.
Timmy Allen, we should say, didn't play, had an ankle injury.
Yeah.
That took a precautionary, coach's decision. But, yeah, it did. It felt like the lane was open because they started Jabari Rice. It was kind of a 3-guard lineup to start the game, and they were penetrating. I mean, what I like when I look at the box score, in addition to Dylan DeSue's, hard work and 11-11, double-double, is that, the guards attacked. I mean, Jabari Rice shot 6 free throws. Marcus Carr shot 9 free throws. Tyrese Hunter was getting to the lane in 29 minutes and scored 11 points. I mean, it did feel like it was more open. I like when the guards are shooting free throws. And again, Oak State couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat last night. They were 14 of 52.
They turned it over 20 times. They couldn't bring it up the court.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't even have to guard them. They were going to throw it away. They were trying to inbound the ball into the big men, trying to get those entry passes. I'm like, they're going to throw it away, or somebody's going to come from the weak side and steal the ball. They just struggled to actually bring the ball up the court
20 turnovers.
last night.
They went 3 for 21 from 3. They were 14 of 52.
Now they got to the line a lot because they got fouled. There was a really aggressive play defensively by Texas last night, which was good to see again. And early in the game, I wonder what coach got that technical for.
Rodney got a tech last night?
He got a tech last night. There was a young lady calling the game. I mean, I don't know what he said across the court, but he got a tech. He got a tech last night. And that was weird because that was around that 7-minute range where both teams weren't doing. They both looked a little tired.
Yeah, they both.
And you were waiting for somebody to kind of make a run, but both teams looked a little exhausted there. I mean, as you said, it was a challenging offensive game, but I don't know what he said to get that tech. And it didn't seem like he wasn't very animated on the side over there. I mean, he had another official that was close to him, so I'm wondering what he said for that to get translated from that official to the other official.
All right, so a couple of thoughts here before we get into Texas Pro Day. This says we didn't. Well, we'll ask Craig Way what Rodney might have said to the official. This says we did not see a Texas hoops team last night that can make a run to the big dance. Too sloppy. Guard play other than Rice is weak. Well, look, people, we keep saying this. Texas is going to be a 2 overall national seed, which means they're going to play a 15 in round 1, which means they're going to play either a 7 or a 10 in round 2. Texas has beaten the teams they should beat this year.
Right.
The losses they've lost to are going to be, our top 15 teams this season. Outside of the loss at Texas Tech, every other team they've lost to has been a really, really good basketball. The Illinois game in New York was a game they shouldn't have lost. But other than that, really, when they get out of this conference and they're playing a 15 seed and then a 10 seed, Texas is going to win those games, even with the performance. I mean, they're that good. Now, when you say long run, does that mean not past the Sweet 16? I mean, that would be a fair question because once you get to the Sweet 16 in the second weekend, which Texas hasn't done in a long time, you're going to be facing a better team. But Texas has shown the ability to beat anybody in the country. So that's why I don't understand where people say that Texas can't make a long run. What do they have to do with 24 wins and wins over Kansas, wins over Gonzaga? I mean, wins over the top teams in the country to suggest that they could make a long run. There's just so many.
Now, do they have players that look tired? Yes, they do.
Well, everyone's tired this time of year.
Yeah, Marcus Carr looks tired.
They're healthy for the most part, though, which a lot of other teams aren't.
Well, look, there are concerns. I'm not saying it's not, and I'm not guaranteeing a long run. I'm just saying when you're a 2 seed and you're playing 15, and then you're going to play 7 or 10, you have a really strong opportunity to play into the next weekend. And once you do, for Texas and for everybody, it's kind of about the draw. What kind of matchup do you get? What kind of team are you facing that you match up good against versus bad? If the team they face in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 is a big front line, very athletic in the front, they're going to have a hard time. I think. Yeah,
I like with the fact that if Marcus Carr is tired and his elevation isn't there on that jumper of his, and he's not. I mean, he still gets to the free throw line. He makes his free throws, and he's playing pretty good defense. That means the other guys have to pick it up. I mean, the freshman last night hit 2 3-pointers. He looked like he had room in the middle.
A lot of legs. Well, and here's my thing. I'm not arguing like you weren't with us last hour. I mean, tonight's game to me for Texas, I don't think it is such an outside shot that Texas plays their way to a 1 seed right now. Right? That's going to be a challenge. Now they could beat Oak State or beat TCU tonight, beat Kansas, and maybe. But I still think the committee, for me, the last couple of years has shown that the regular season is what matters. And the last 2 times the brackets come out, it's really been built on what happened. It was already set before the conference tournaments were finalized, right? So for Texas, I don't want to say tonight's game doesn't matter. I think winning last night, getting the 12th quad 1 win, which is the second most in the country behind Kansas, puts them firmly on the 2 line. And here's the thing we were talking about with Marcus Carr. He played 40 minutes last night and went 2 for 10. If I'm Rodney Terry, why don't you let Arterial Morris get more minutes tonight and let
Yeah,
Marcus
that's what I
get
would
off his
think.
feet a little bit? Give some of the younger guys more minutes, and if you win the game, great. If you don't, you're coming home.
And let Dessou continue to play offensively, really
Yeah.
get after it,
But
because they need him.
Marcus, the last, I'll look it up, his last 5 games shooting percentage, but as this text says, he's not only missing shots, he's taking bad shots. And that, Mark, the frustrating part for the Longhorns, you finally have Tyrese Hunter playing better and healthy with Jabari Rice. And we've said all year, if you can get those 3 guards all playing really well at the same time, well, now you're very scary come tournament time.
Yeah, I didn't think Marcus Carr took bad shots last night. I just thought the ones he took, he just didn't elevate, even at a 3-pointer. I mean, they were hitting the bottom of the rim. They weren't arcing over the rim to go in the basket. They were hitting the rim sideways.
He's missing some easy ones too at times. And
Yeah,
shots he's made a lot in the past, which
and
leads
these
you back
floaters,
to,
he's not making those floaters.
Yeah, which leads you back to his legs and is he tired? And he played 40 minutes last night. But I do like that he was aggressive.
Oh, he does.
And he went to the line 9 times, which is a good possession if you can get to the line and shoot 2 free throws because he's a good free throw shooter. That's all. I'll be interested to see how Rodney rotates players tonight. Maybe get some of the younger guys more minutes. Dylan Mitchell, Arterial Morris. Even Brock Cunningham and these guys, see if they can get more minutes out of their bench and let the starters get off their feet a little bit. But again, you play to win. I get it, but I don't know that this tournament means much right now for the Longhorns, especially in this conference where they've proven
the pounding,
themselves and the meat grinder that it is. But Horns will play 8:30 tonight. Kansas will play ahead of them against Iowa State, and the third matchup for both in those spots.
Iowa State's playing well. Hell, Kansas will have a battle on their hands too.
Certainly so. All right, Texas Pro Day, Buck. By the way, that game 8:30 tonight. You'll hear it. We got Texas baseball tonight, 6:30 with Manhattan. The Jaspers are in town, and we also have UT football practice this morning. They went through their go through their third workout this morning. We'll hear from Steve Sarkisian afterwards. So we'll certainly have a full review of that coming up on Monday, and certainly in the afternoon shows we'll have it here on the Horn. But 32 teams were represented yesterday, Buck, and we know that Roshan Johnson, DeMarvion Overshone, Keandre Coburn, and Mor Ojimo worked out yesterday, just a few days after they worked out at the Combine. Bijan Robinson did not go through physical testing, but was on hand to talk to teams. And then there was Jaleel Billingsley, Anthony Cook, Deshaun Jameson, Tariq Milton, and Daniel Trejo. Those were the 5 other Longhorns. So 10 total went through the testing. And, we talked about Jaleel Billingsley had a great athletic workout. They ran 4.52, did a big vertical jump and showed why people like Jaleel Billingsley, right? Whether he was at Alabama or Texas, but he just didn't have any tape, Buck. You didn't play. You got to play. I mean, you can be an athletic freak, but you got to be able to play. And that's good. I heard Rod and those guys saying it yesterday. I think this performance yesterday maybe get you invited to a camp, give you an opportunity, just because he's a physical freak. But, once he gets there, he's going to have to show it for sure. But Keandre Coburn, his best part was a 4.77 short shuttle. Anthony Cook, who didn't get to go to the Combine, showed the athleticism you like. He was 4.59 in the 40. His short shuttle of 4.27 is really, really impressive. Broad jump 10.5, 34-inch. And I know you liked Anthony Cook, number 11 last year, Buck, a really good heady player who also may have earned himself a spot at a training camp, at least a tryout, an opportunity to make to go to training camp. Does
it have a weight on him? Is he a 185 or 190?
I didn't see that. I'll look it up. Deshaun Jameson also worked out and showed 4.48 speed. I was surprised Roshan did not run another 40. He didn't want to mess around with it. He's going to live with what he posted at the Combine, which is 4.58. And Roshan doing his thing. And we told you yesterday, Roshan's already been meeting with teams and had an individual meeting with the Cowboys. Also said he's had formal meetings with the Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about the Eagles with Bijan. What about the Eagles with Roshan? But there you go. The teams meet with everybody. So there you go. This guy says, softball has a top 10 matchup. That's right. Yeah, they play Alabama this afternoon. Get out there you love your fast pitch softball. Texas women will play Alabama today, 9 versus 10 at McCombs Field. That's part of a nice tournament they're having over there. Alabama, Texas, Texas
weekend
State,
tournament, right?
Texas State, who's really good, and Wisconsin out of the Big Ten. That'll be all weekend long. Yeah, schedule at texassports.com. And can I say we should have said it on a Buck Off Thursday yesterday. Buck On too. The greatest player in Longhorn softball history, Kat Osterman, has had a baby this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. Kat and her husband have had a child. JC is her name. And
very nice.
She's already being recruited by Mike White to play at Texas.
I would say so.
Already has an offer.
They're early.
Already has
an offer.
Real early. There we go. Okay, so we'll And we already see this says C.J. Baxter. Looks like Eric Dickerson. Come on now. Yeah, Cedric Baxter is going by C.J.
Yeah, he'll
He has the same hairdo as Bijan.
He's kind of copying Bijan's.
It's like a mini, whatever,
Okay.
whatever you call that hair. It looks cool.
Hey, man, it works for Bijan.
got that Eric Dickerson. He'll learn to get down a little bit.
Can I tell you about the
At
dream I had?
this
Can I tell you
level?
about the dream I had last night? And I think it's a dream I had early this morning. It involves Bijan Robinson.
Oh,
Yeah, I was dreaming about Bijan, but I'll tell you what it was. Not that way. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We'll also have Hot or Not for the end of the hour. Talk more football, free agency looming in the National Football League. It's B&E on the Horn. Getting after it on a Friday morning. This said he had some Bijanese on his dreams last night. No. How about this dream I had last night? Because I'm obsessed with the NFL draft. And now, by the way, if you go to PFF, Pro Football Focus, they have a mock draft simulator where you can go through mock drafts for your favorite team. It's a lot of fun. They do a pretty good job. It's really easy to do, and so you kind of it really is interesting to see who's going to be where and kind of what round or what the predicted. You never know. Everything's a gamble, but Cowboys at 26. But then what their second round pick could look like, who might be available, third round pick, who might be available, and where to slot positions. But it's fun. So I was doing some of those yesterday, and then last night I had this dream that the Kansas City Chiefs traded up with the Texans at 12 to draft Bijan Robinson. Buck, could you imagine? Now, they probably won't do that because they have the kid Pacheco and some backs. But wouldn't that be like an Andy Reid move? Just say, I already got my homies.
I like going to the Super Bowl.
I like going to the Super Bowl. I might lose my left tackle, Orlando Brown. So I'll trade up,
I'll find another.
Because quite honestly, if the Chiefs were to trade up with somebody like Houston or anybody in the middle of the round, they would probably come up to take a tackle. Because Orlando Brown, Zeus Brown's about to be off to the free agent market here come Wednesday or Monday, and so, but yeah, to take Bijan, and it was like, oh man, Patrick Mahomes, Bijan, come on now, that ain't fair. But that was a little bit of my dream last night. But
hey,
I don't
neither
think
is
that will
Jalen
happen.
Hurts, Bijan. That's not fair either.
No. Well, they can take him at 10 if they want to. But Bijan was at Pro Day yesterday, not working out. This says, hey, Buck on. In addition to the Buck on to the first professional paintball tournament of the year starting today. Austin now has a pro team making their debut.
Congratulations.
Paintball. You ever done that?
No.
Ty?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're a big paintballer. I can tell.
Yeah, as a little kid, I would put the balls in the freezer, and then you put them in the
Oh,
paintball.
come on.
Oh.
You're one of those?
Oh, that stings.
Yeah, it makes it more realistic.
Why? Of somebody dying, getting shot?
Oh, you got it. I mean, we had protective equipment on, of course.
Oh.
You put them in the freezer?
Yeah.
Well, what was that for?
Dude, you're a scoundrel.
So it hurt?
Yeah, it leaves a mark.
Oh.
It leaves a mark without him being frozen like a block of ice. Come on, man. You're a scoundrel that way. That's not. Did your buddies know that?
Yeah, they did it too.
Well, they did it too. Okay, so everybody's competing on the same
There were
level.
some wimps though that complained.
There were some complainers.
There's always those kids.
There's always those kids, you bully. Okay, so we've got a lot out there. Talking Texas hoops, they're going to play TCU tonight. Also, last hour we had a good debate about Lamar Jackson v. Aaron Rodgers and who the Jets should be pursuing. That's a big debate right now in the Big Apple. Can I just say that to wrap up that conversation? And this is let's just go with facts, right? So Lamar Jackson, 2019-2020, had two incredible seasons. Like put together, as far as combining two seasons for a quarterback, two of the best ever in the National Football League. In 2019 and 2020, Lamar Jackson led the Ravens to a 24-6 record. In those two seasons, he threw for almost 6,000 yards, completed 65% of his passes, threw 62 touchdowns, ran for 2,250 yards and 14 touchdowns, so amassed 76 touchdowns over two seasons.
Video game stuff.
Video game, right? And that was with a fully loaded Ravens team. Now, in the playoffs, he's 1-3 in the playoffs 3 times. He's been to 4 playoff games. He's won 1 of them. And that is a knock. That's a fair fact. That is a knock against Lamar Jackson. 1 playoff win in 4 tries. But, okay, then 2021 and 22, he only started 12 games in each season, so 24 games started on a depleted and injury-riddled team. We'd have to add that, correct, that the Ravens were just ravaged by injuries in 2021 and, again, had some key injuries this year. In those seasons, he completed 63% of his passes, went 15-9, 5,000 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, ran for 1,531 yards. He also had his interceptions go up, and his sacks went up over those 2 seasons. So, again, those are the facts, right? 2 historically great seasons followed by 2 mediocre seasons, and that's where the question becomes how much of that was about injuries in his team and the roster and him, and then, how much of it is about
1,500
Lamar
yards
Jackson.
rushing.
Well, so those are his 4 years, right? It's 4 years total. 2 great years, 2 average years. And he's coming off of 2 average years. And so that's where the conversation begins. But then you compare that to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then lost in the playoffs to the 49ers twice. Didn't make it to the end to the Super Bowl. And then this year, on a young, injury-riddled team with not a lot of weapons, didn't have a great season, did he?
No.
So again, you can put Aaron Rodgers in the same conversation as Lamar Jackson. When you don't have the people around you and you're a little bit banged up yourself, the numbers come down, even for the great Aaron Rodgers. So that leads to the question of, if you're the New York Jets, should you be pursuing a big contract and a trade for Aaron Rodgers, or should you be pursuing a big contract and a trade for a 26-year-old
Aaron Rodgers is
Lamar
getting a
Jackson?
big contract no matter where he goes, correct?
I'd love the debate, because I could argue both ways. That I see Woody Johnson and Robert Saleh's coveting Aaron Rodgers because he's 39. If he's healthy with the weapons they have, he could be the missing piece. He could be their Matt Stafford. But is he going to beat Josh Allen?
But is he going? Are they getting to the Super Bowl?
Right. And with Lamar Jackson, you got 10 more years of that potentially.
Just figure out if they're getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, obviously we've been on the Lamar Jackson story this week, but I'm just been really amazed by the negativity towards Lamar Jackson, that he's not any good. Like, I'm not saying he's worth a guaranteed $240 million contract. I'm not arguing that. I also argue
and that's the problem. It's all about guaranteed money.
Correct. But just because he's asking for it doesn't mean he's going to get it. I think the Ravens have already done that, and they're letting the market set the market for Lamar Jackson.
And that's where he'll end up again.
Right, most likely. But I've been surprised how little people think of Lamar Jackson. I think they forget just how great he was when he was healthy, when they had a full complement of people around him, and when the Ravens arguably were one of the three best teams in the league. Remember 2019, they were blowing everybody out throughout the course of the year. But look,
they not only struggle on offense, they struggle on defense with guys getting hurt too. They didn't just have offensive problems.
And you remember on this show 3 months ago, I said, Buck, keep an eye on this Lamar Jackson thing, because it feels like it's getting acrimonious between he and the front office because he doesn't have his contract. And I said, don't be surprised if they don't let him get to the free agent market, or at least as what he is.
And then they reel him back. And I don't think it's out of the question that the Ravens let him go if somebody comes in and gives him a big contract. And because, again, the Ravens have holes to fill. I mean, they don't have weapons on the outside. They don't have a great defense like they once did. They've got issues in their back end. They've gotten expensive in some of their key guys. If they want to chase the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Bills and the AFC, they have holes to fill. And just bringing back Lamar Jackson on a huge contract is not going to fix that. But obviously they have to have an answer what they're going to do at QB. But I just think that the fact that the Jets are in on Aaron Rodgers and not on Lamar Jackson is an interesting conversation. Of why aren't they? If you're in on Aaron Rodgers at 39, why aren't you in on Lamar Jackson at 26? And like I said, I may be wrong in thinking that Aaron Rodgers is just a 2-year player and done. That's about the length of mentally that he'll be playing football from this point on. But I may be totally wrong. Maybe that dude wants to be Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Maybe Aaron Rodgers, with the shrooms and everything that he's on and all the stuff that he's doing, maybe he can play 5 or 6 more years. I only see him as a year-to-year problem, a year-to-year pain in the ass. I
agree with that. And maybe they, because you say he may play 5 more years, he may retire next year.
That's what I mean, yeah.
After a darkness retreat that tells him where to go.
Or he could be there 3 years from now, and the team may be building around Aaron Rodgers.
Because as you said earlier, if it's Woody Johnson, the owner, driving this, and it's for, media coverage.
I'm going to sell more jerseys. It's about I want to be known in the paper a lot more than the Giants. I'm sick of hearing about their coach, and I'm sick of hearing about what they're paying Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I'm the Jets. I need to be in the forefront in New York. You know what I mean? Those guys have those egos Woody Johnson has his ego, as you saw with Brett Favre. I mean, there's the egos here to play too.
It says, because Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball more than 8 yards down the field. Over a 2-season period from 2019 to 2020, Lamar Jackson threw 62 touchdown passes. He led the NFL in touchdown passes
I think
thrown.
they might be referring to Zach Wilson.
Oh, well, and I don't think so. I think that's Lamar Jackson knock, that he can't throw. Again, the numbers would clearly show you that with good weapons around him and good personnel, he can throw the football. My
knock on him is his greatest strength is the fact that, dude, you're running around in the NFL the way you run. You're not built, and you're not built like you're not built like the guy from Philly. You're not built like Jalen Hurts. You're built like a wide receiver, and you're running around taking on guys and thinking you can outrun them, and they catch up to him and they slam his ass to the ground.
That's a very fair argument, without a doubt, that he's just not going to last the long haul. And we'll see. I won't agree with the fact that he can't throw.
Now.
I won't agree with the fact that he can't throw.
And the more they play games, the more they lengthen these seasons out and they're not bringing them down, they're lengthening them out. The more I worry about Lamar, I don't worry about him throwing. He's gotten better every year. He's getting better at that. And you surround him with the right people, I think he's fine. And he is effective as a runner, but his greatest skill will be his greatest detriment, when he's not there for you in the playoffs.
Interesting. It says to you, Ty. He says, where did this go? Freezing paintballs will get you banned from any course in the world. It's extremely dangerous since the gear is not made for rocks.
Yeah, this wasn't
that is screwed up.
This wasn't on a course. This is in the green
It's
belt.
in the green belt in the backyard.
In the backyard. Yeah, I know it's dangerous. I was also like 10 years old.
The things we do in our youth. Did you know that when I was working at the ranch in Wyoming, Buck, on the 4th of July, we would
You did enough dangerous stuff.
We did some dangerous things there. We were not smart, but we used to have. What are the fireworks that go like missiles? Not the Roman candles. No, not Roman candles, but like the bottle rockets.
Bottle rockets.
So we used to have bottle rocket fights in the woods at Wyoming when it would get dark on the 4th of July-ish. And
Thus you in the forest fires.
So you get a pipe and
you guys shooting right at each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're wearing goggles and you're wearing big, heavy. It's cold.
Get your
It's
chaps
cold in the
on.
mountains on
Get
the 4th of
chaps on.
July. Well, if you wanted to.
There you go.
Yeah. Bottle rocket fights. Always good. That says auditioning to be Lamar Jackson's agent. Well, look, if you listen to the show, I like to be factual, and those are the facts on Lamar Jackson. You can argue both sides of him, but you can't just come in and say he can't throw. That's wrong. That is completely unfair to the player.
Well, the last 2 years.
And the last 2 years, Aaron Rodgers last year, is it fair to cite his weapons and lack of them? Is it fair to cite that he didn't have anybody to throw to? I guess not.
But when you watch, I want to get it out there that I'm not hating. Like, I think Lamar Jackson's good, but when you watch him throw the ball, it does not look
like
pretty.
Aaron Rodgers. That's right.
Yes,
that's correct. I won't disagree with you. Their throwing styles are different. Aaron Rodgers is maybe the purest and best thrower of the football of all time. Lamar Jackson has a bit of a
and so are both of their running styles.
But the numbers would tell you he can throw. And if you can say for Aaron Rodgers, last year's numbers being way down were about lack of weapons, I argue the same thing for Lamar Jackson. He had
and
nobody
his thumb
to throw
injury.
to. If your best receiver, as much as I love the guy, is Devin Duvernay, he's your best receiver. Okay, Devin's a good player. He made the Pro Bowl as a kick returner. He's a self-made player because he got very little coaching here at Texas while he was here. But if he's your best weapon, Mark Andrews is your best weapon. But if he's your best receiver, come on, man. I mean, we make excuses for Aaron Rodgers because he's throwing to no more Devontae Smith. You got to be fair with both sides of that. We'll be back. Let's load up the hot or not. It'll be our man Ty leading us through some topics we've missed halfway through this Friday show. Also got a little daylight savings time reminder in there. Academy Awards are coming. It's B&E on the Horn. Hot Knot. Hey, tomorrow, Buck, our friend Colonel Craig Flowers on the high ground
Yes, sir.
at 10 o'clock tomorrow, right after the Big Ugly Tailgate with Casey and Johnny. They're going to have Keith DeSormo on the high ground.
Oh, Kent DeSormo?
Keith, his brother.
Oh, Keith is going to be
Kent
on.
DeSormo is the jockey. Keith is the
Trainer.
for
Oh, awesome.
the horse Confidence Game, which has moved into number 4 on the NTRA top 3 rankings. Bound for the Kentucky Derby in 2 months.
Let's see if he races in Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, we'll learn more about that. So Keith DeSormo, if you're into that whole Confidence Game, don't tell my wife Stables conversation we've had with
Buy
Colonel.
into it, make some cash.
Yeah, I mean the America's horse, or the people's horse, as Colonel calls it.
Yes.
The people's horse. So you can listen tomorrow, 10 o'clock. They'll have Keith DeSormo on. He trains those horses, and he helps. Remember, the guys, Colonel and all his buddies from TCU who got into this, they don't know a lot about horse racing, but Keith DeSormo's their guy. He helps them find the remember they spent $30,000 on this horse. Confidence Game.
You
And
realize if that horse happens to win the Kentucky Derby, you know what it is per shot, if you know what I mean? Bang, bang, bang. It's like 150,000 per bang, bang.
Learn more about that. Of course, in addition to our entire Saturday morning lineup with playing through and the Big Ugly
How often
Tailgate.
can a horse go there? How did?
What do you mean?
It was Nunley just once a week. Nunley was once a weeker, right? Friday nights.
You talking about the Jack Donkey at
Yeah.
the ranch? I mean, I don't know how often he could go. He only worked on Friday nights.
It had to be at night
during the
during the
summer.
night when
From
everybody's
my
away.
eyes.
When everybody was away.
Yeah,
He's a quite noisy guy.
quite noisy. I don't know how many
Actual per day.
Nick Cannons that the
Nick
horse
Cannons.
can produce. Also, in Hot or Not, we keep telling you this. This story with the Pac-12 falling apart and the Big 12 going after the Four Corners schools. It's getting more and more mainstream. Now, Dennis Dodd, who's up at the Big 12 basketball tournament in Kansas City, the lead college football writer for CBS Sports, has a story, and in the headline, Big 12 readies to pounce on Four Corners schools as doubt creeps in about Pac-12 viability. And in his story, he says, as we've told you, that Brett Yormark has been in pretty constant conversation with Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. There have been weekly conversations between the Big 12 and those 4 programs if talks have heated up. There was a big Board of Regents meeting this week at Colorado. Pac-12 does not have a deal, and they put everything on pause. So, again, continue to keep an eye on that. And I think if you're the Big 12, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving in 2024, you'd like to add whichever schools you're going to add in 2024. Right, you'd like to go ahead and
for sure.
When Texas and OU leave, instead of being a 12-team conference, you become a 14 or 16-team conference. So keep an eye on that. They're
going to know that before that time comes.
Oh, for sure, it all lines up to that for sure. Because if the Big 12 could get to 16, SEC's at 16, Big 10 is at 16.
My goodness.
Oh yeah. Ty, what do you have for us in Hot or Not, my friend?
Well, it's official. Aaron Rodgers has announced his next move, but it's not related to football. He will be speaking at the 2023 Psychedelic Science Convention in Denver, Colorado, with a whole panel of experts,
really,
like himself.
Can't wait to get my ticket.
And they're expecting around 10,000 attendees. So,
Psychedelic Science Convention?
Yes, the largest gathering in history.
And you guys want this guy as your quarterback over Lamar Jackson? Really?
He knows something.
39, speaking at the Psychedelic Science Convention. Can this guy just go ahead and get married or something? What the heck?
He's done. No.
He needs a wife to tell him what to do.
Dude's going to become a professor.
Professor of what? Psychedelics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, don't do all the drugs, Aaron.
Do them all. Under the safe counsel of a doctor, but do them all.
Yes.
We'll be back. B&E with you. Reset those headlines. Longhorns into the semifinals at the Big 12 tournament. They can punch their ticket to the finals with a win tonight. We'll preview their matchup with TCU. That's coming up next on B&E. You better. You better on a Friday. It's Friday. And for a lot of you, the work week is already over because it's a 4-day work week. Hey now, spring break has begun. For a lot of school, well, this will be the last day of
Just
school
be
for a
careful.
lot of youngsters headed off
Headed
into spring
down to
break.
the coast.
Creeks,
Me would be
rivers,
Fort Lauderdale.
streams.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, poop deck.
Poop deck.
Got to tell that story next week over spring break. Maybe next week we'll tell our worst spring break moments, including you arriving at the poop deck.
Yeah. Even worse, me trying to get a tan with baby oil, and I got sun poisoning about 40 minutes into my stay at Fort
You
Lauderdale.
put baby oil on yourself?
Dude, I baked myself. I was so sick. It wasn't from the drinking. I thought originally I was thinking that it was just from the alcohol. No, dude, it was from the sun. I never felt so sick in my life, except for seasickness. That's the other one that'll take you over the
That's
top.
the worst I've heard since my wife and her neighbor was her best friend growing up. And like there was a spot in their driveway that would puddle up. And so they'd fill it up with the hose and they'd lay out and they would put like literally like baking grease on them. Like
that's
Crisco.
what baby oil is. Just
I
the
know.
same thing. It's just like
I'm
Crisco.
like, you guys, what is wrong?
I mean, I
with you?
bubbled up and was so sick.
Well, I got this fair Irish
But I
skin.
did.
That was never my deal.
I did have that caramel tan. It wasn't, no, I was chocolito when
Now-
I got back.
Tell me this again, because we'll revisit next week on
Okay.
spring break, actual spring break. Because I'm sure Ty's got some dandy spring break stories, knowing him. You said you got to Fort Lauderdale, but you went to a high school gym to like work out, to, like pump
I
iron.
was at St. Thomas Aquinas.
But you wanted to pump iron, so your muscles were all bulging when you went to the beach. Is that right?
Muscle Beach. Are you kidding me? I was in Fort Lauderdale, of course. We had to get that pump on. Also,
So you went to the high school gym.
we thumbed a ride. We thumbed from Boston College to Connecticut, where my friend picked up the car with the window that didn't have a back window.
Oh, no.
And I sat in the back the entire, and it was like up in smoke on the way from Connecticut all the way to Fort Lauderdale. Thus, landing in Fort Lauderdale Beach, at about 4:00 in the morning in front of the hotel known as the Poop Deck,
Gay bar.
gay hotel. And I was like, we're laying on
But you didn't know that at the
Well,
time.
it was dark. We just laid our blankets down on the beach. I lay there with my roommates laying on the same blanket. If
'Cause you
there's
didn't want to
anything
get a
wrong with
hotel at
that,
4 in the morning. You just
well,
wanted
we
to
couldn't
go
get to a hotel 4 in the morning. So
You're
I
right.
just,
sleep on the beach.
yeah, so
Nice and soft, nice little ocean breezes.
I'm telling the damn story, sorry. But as I go by, a friend of mine from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania walks by us. When the sun finally comes up, there's 4 dudes laying on the blanket
In front of the poop deck.
in front of the poop deck, and my friend goes, Bucky. I'm like, what's going on? And he says, what are you doing here? And I'm like, drove down from Boston to spring break. He goes, no, what are you doing here? And I look behind me, and the hotel says the poop deck. And if you look at all the blankets around it's nothing but blankets with dudes, with other dudes.
Baby oil.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they are oiling each other up. And it's the sun. And I said, do me a favor. I said, just pretend this never happened. This can't get back to Pennsylvania,
The word cannot spread.
the word cannot spread.
But I do like you went to the high school workout
Oh.
gym to get your pump on before
Yes.
you went to the Muscle Beach.
Of course,
Oh,
I was there to
man.
meet my wife to be,
And this was you were probably playing football at Boston College.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
probably the best shape of your life.
but I still had that pump on for the beach. I don't know what's down in Fort Lauderdale. It's a little different in Boston that time of year. I
You
got
have a
so
big fro?
sick. Yeah, I had the fro. That's when we went to Miami, to where they filmed Caddyshack, where the boat scene there. That's why I asked you if you were at the Rusty Scupper there in Miami.
The Rusty Scupper.
Yeah, it was awful, man. I felt so bad. I felt so sick. Ty, you mean that sun poisoning was so awful.
God
I kind of
dang.
curbed my drinking for the remainder of the time.
Yeah,
but
well, I'm an anti-sunscreen guy, so I've been there.
What is wrong with you? You're anti-sunscreen. What does that even mean?
You got to burn to bronze.
there you go.
We've heard of
I was
skin
cooking.
cancer.
I was cooking though, man.
Have you heard of skin cancer? Is that like something that's ever been
Do you think that
said to
bothers you? Wow.
I am anti-sunscreen. I've never heard that before in my life. I love it. You got to burn to bronze. All right, so Ty is here. We'll have those. I'll tell you my story of why I can't drink tequila anymore, even at this age of 50, unless it's really good. All right, let's get to your headlines, though. Trending topics. It's a sports show, after all. Top Gun Equipment Rentals bring you the news. Not Top Gun Maverick, which may win the Best Picture award on Sunday night, or should. It's Top Gun rentals. College hoops, impressive win for the 7th-ranked Longhorns last night. They advanced to the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament with a 61-47 smothering of 7th-seeded Oklahoma State. They're going to move on to play TCU tonight in KC. The Longhorns locked in on D the whole night from the jump. They held the Cowboys to 47 points and actually the shooting percentage was horrible. 5 Longhorns scored in double figures, led by Jabari Rice with 15. Dylan DeSue had a triple-double, 11 points, 11 boards. It's the Longhorns' 3rd win over OKC Oklahoma State this season. Their 12th Quadrant 1 win, which is the most by any team other than Kansas in the nation, secures likely a number 2 overall national seed when the brackets come out on Sunday. First things first, the Longhorns will face TCU tonight. Semifinal matchup. They split the season series home and home. They're going to play the rubber match tonight at 8:30 is the scheduled tip time. That's because TCU beat K-State last night 80-67. Top-seeded Kansas will face Iowa State in the other semi. That's set for 6 o'clock. Then Horns and Horned Frogs. You'll hear the game live here on the Horn with an 8 o'clock pregame. Top-seeded Texas women will open play at the Big 12 Women's Tournament this afternoon in KC, facing a team that they just walloped in the regular season finale, Kansas State. That's going to be quarterfinal action. Horns crushed them on Saturday. They'll play them again today, 1:30. One other note from Kansas City. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self is going to miss the rest of the Big 12 tournament for what the program has announced is a standard health issue. Top assistant Norm Roberts will run the team in his place. Texas football welcomed representatives from all 32 teams to campus yesterday for its pro timing day. In the indoor bubble, there are 10 former Longhorn players going through their workouts. The current Longhorns hit the field this morning for spring practice number 3, which will wrap up week 1 of the 6 weeks of training ahead of the Orange-White scrimmage on April 15th. Tough news in the NBA yesterday. Word that lifetime Longhorn and Phoenix Sun Kevin Durant's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, maybe the rest of the regular season, with that left ankle injury he suffered in pregame warm-ups on Wednesday. And in golf, round 2 is underway at the Players' Championship at Ponte Vedra Beach. It's the tournament course at Sawgrass. Leader Chad Ramey, after firing a smooth 8 under 64 yesterday, he's 1 stroke better than Colin Morikawa.
So Bill Self, I mean, they call that a standard health, whatever. Coaches don't miss games for standard health. I mean, what does it say? I mean, is it a health checkup or health scare? It's not standard. When they miss a game, that's not.
And miss a whole tournament?
Yeah, not just a game, it's the whole damn tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he's best coach in college basketball, but he's going to be out here. And, here's what's going to. So here's the story at theathletic.com. Kansas basketball coach will miss the Big 12 tournament because of a health issue. They say Self did not suffer a heart attack.
Okay.
But spent Wednesday night as a patient at the University of Kansas Health System. Self arrived at the emergency department last night, underwent a standard procedure that went well. He's expected to make a full recovery. There will be no further medical details released. So, sounds like it was a heart issue.
Yeah, sounds like a scare.
Or, heart arrhythmia or rapid heartbeat, any number of things.
He wasn't just going to the hospital to be tested.
But I think the fact that the athletic, he did not suffer, maybe there were online rumors that he had a heart attack.
There was.
So, he did not. So that's good news. And Bill Self, and again, obviously, if you got something going on with your ticker, you don't need to be out there yelling and screaming and running up and down the floor. I saw Bill Self just Saturday at the game on Saturday. But let's hope, cross your fingers for Bill Self. Everything's good on that. They're saying it's going to be no big deal, and he'll be back. And Kansas and Texas are kind of in the similar spot, right? They both like to win the Big 12 tournament, but big picture, I think Kansas is going to be a 1 seed. I think Texas is locked in as a 2 seed after last night's 12th Quad 1 win that they posted, most in the nation not named Kansas. I think both are in very good spots, and I don't know that they can help themselves or hurt themselves much from here. Really, it's about being primed for next week. And I know that's a debate.
Well, this coaching staff would like to go ahead and win that tournament in order to be this coaching staff again next year. That would help an awful lot towards it.
You're right. And it's, as I said earlier,
they're playing for a lot of things.
Every coach has a different mindset on these things. Rick Barnes hated this tournament, and they never played well in this tournament. And I think that was a symptom of Rick Barnes' casual attitude towards it.
That's right. You're right. It all depends on what attitude you take.
And, same time, Marcus Carr, there's a lot to like about last night's game. The defensive intensity was 40 minutes again, like the Kansas game. I mean, they held the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who are not a good offensive team to begin with, to 26% shooting.
20 turnovers.
So you love the defense. The only thing that you can be nitpicky of is, Timmy Allen didn't play because he's got an ankle, and Marcus Carr played 40 minutes and made 2 shots. He did make 6 free throws, so he scored 11 points. But Marcus Carr continues to be in a bit of a shooting slump. Is he tired? He played 40 minutes. Could you get him off his feet a little bit tonight? Let Arterio Morris take some more minutes. I mean, let some of these younger guys, play more of the minutes in a game. I don't know because again, I think Texas is a 2 seed. Period. I don't think anything that happens between now and then will change.
Very hard for you to change your approach as a player if you got a championship in front of you. It is.
It does, and this is what you play for. This is what you play for. But let's all agree that the most important games of the season begin next week, next Thursday or Friday, when the tournament begins. Because again, I think the most important games of the year are your regular season matchups in your home homes in the Big 12.
And you've shared a Big 12 championship. You've got one championship.
Well, no, they were second behind Kansas. Texas women shared the championship.
Right, I'm sorry, yeah.
But you won a lot of games in that conference. You had a great run, and
even more so, you can still win this championship.
I know you know me though. I just don't. I know it's a championship.
I know.
It's a trophy. I just don't. I don't like conference tournaments. I like them for the underdog and the ability to automatic bid kind of thing. I get that, but again, we know they're made for television. They're revenue drivers for conferences and for TV. And if Texas if somebody goes on, Kansas is the champion of the Big 12 this year. They showed it over a 2-month period. The grind of 18 games. Kansas won the Big 12. They're the champions of the conference. I understand the tournament is a different animal. I'm just not a huge fan of them. And I do think Texas can make a run in the Big 12 tournament, but it's going to depend on being healthy and being fully rested, getting Marcus Carr back to get his shooting legs under him. But, man, the thing that you have going for you is that Jabari Rice has been a rock all year. He was again last night. He's been your most consistent performer all season long. And then Tyrese Hunter is back to playing really good basketball. And that was something we, through January and into February, we were like, man, what's wrong with Tyrese Hunter? I heard him on an interview with Craig Way yesterday on Light the Tower, and he talked about how the fact that during some of that time he wasn't healthy. He was battling through some injuries and never mentioned it, but that may be part of it. He says he's feeling great right now. He feels healthy. And that's where we say if you could get he and Jabari Rice and Marcus Carr all cranking at the same time, this thing could be really good because 3 guards like that, 3 veteran. Gosh, you're talking about 3 dudes right there, Buck, that have played a combined, 18 years of college basketball or 15 years of college basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have played a lot of hoops. Well, Tyrese Hunter's only in his 2nd year, but the other 2 are like 6th-year seniors. So very veteran, very experienced in the backcourt. But Marcus Carr right now is just not shooting the ball very well. He's about a 5 game in a row where he's 2 for 10 or 2 for 9.
Yeah, he knows how to use his
12.
body going to the basket. He draws fouls.
I'd like to see them get fully
throws.
healthy, get Marcus Carr off his feet for a little bit, and be ready to go next week. But, hey, we'll obviously be listening tonight, watching tonight, 8:30 Texas and TCU.
It's also got a coach fighting for a job.
Well, that's true. And I think he's
and every one of those wins means something to him.
He's making his case.
And that entire staff.
Well, yeah. I mean, a Big 12 championship and the trophy.
Yeah.
First since – because remember this, though. The last time Texas won the Big 12 championship, they then lost to Abilene Christian in the first round of the NCAA tournament. To say disappointing would be the understatement.
They didn't put up a banner?
They did. Well, because they won the Big 12 championship.
And then they had another banner, did they? Was that the year they had
that? Was the NIT. That was the previous year.
Oh, that's right. Championships galore here in basketball, so back up.
Championship hangover.
And I guess, to me, that's the point of what I'm saying, which I know most people
disagree. Is that what it was, a
with
championship hangover? See, Ty thinks it was a championship hangover.
You'll never be able to prove this, but did playing 3 games in 3 days and winning that tournament take their legs a little bit and they lose to Abilene Christian, or they didn't focus on Abilene Christian, and that's all on Shaka Smart? All I'm saying is when people think of that season, they first think of the one of the worst losses in program history.
That's
to
what
ACU.
I think of. That's what I think
They
of.
don't think of the Big 12 Conference Championship.
No.
The program will, but fans, we don't. We see that as a bad season because you lost ACU. I mean,
yeah. How did you do that?
How did you do that? I don't know. But but just if they win this Big 12 championship, would that prevent them from winning their first round game? No, it's a different season, different year. I'm just not a fan of conference tournaments. But that's my opinion. We love your opinion as well on the Longhorns and all that is going on throughout the landscape here. Longhorn practice is underway, number 3 for Steve Sarkisian and the Horns.
And the women will play the same team for the 3rd time? Is this 3 coming up?
Well, yeah, Texas played Oak State for the 3rd time last night. I mean, once you get to this tournament, you've already gone home and home, so you're playing the 3rd matchup. And Texas
won them both, correct?
Well, Texas just played Kansas State on Saturday and beat them by 30 points.
That's right, crushed them.
30 points. And so they'll play again today at 1:30 as the number 1 overall seed. Hey, so on the Longhorn side of things, I'll be interested to hear from Steve Sarkisian after practice today because I saw several tweets that because we didn't hear from Sark after Wednesday's practice. We heard from the players, right? Christian Jones and Jalen Ford and some other guys. And there were a lot of tweets and reporting that Sark was not happy. Like he was really, openly frustrated with the effort and what he was seeing from his team. I'll be interested to hear from Sark today about, you know what these are, right? Spring break's coming for the players too, Buck.
Hell yeah.
You're about to head to the poop deck and other things. And obviously you're trying to maximize these practices, and you're trying to play to a level, trying to play to a standard, practice to a standard.
We'll see you when you come back, big boys. Don't be puking on the field.
And you're the coach, but I have to guess that if you're frustrated, you're probably frustrated with your veteran players because you got 15 brand new guys out here who you're trying to show, hey, here's how we practice. Here's the standard we go by. Here's how we bring our intensity on a practice-by-practice basis.
Dude, they're never happy in the spring.
Right. And if some of the veteran players who've been around here aren't doing that, you could see that could draw some ire from the –
Dude, coaches want their players to be in the spring just like they are in two-a-days. They're ready to go. They want everything smooth and give me your attitude. Man, those guys know exactly when spring break is. They know how they have to get through a certain amount of time before we're out of here. And they know how they have to come back in shape. Because coaches can't wait for you to go on that spring break and see what you look like when you come back. And the big guys generally pay the heavy price for when they come back. Because all they do is pound them.
Pound them.
Oh, yeah.
Pound them.
Unless you're one of those guys that you don't go anywhere, you stick around and you lift weights. The guys that we love to see there, Ty. You're not going on spring break. What are you going to do? Coach, I'm going to stay here. Work out. My girlfriend is here. We're not going anywhere.
Eat my beets. Eat healthy.
Be near my mama. Come on. I love you, son. Come over here. Come here. Give me a hug. Go have fun. You and your girlfriend. See you at the mall. That ain't happening. Them dudes are gone.
Well, they've earned that. They're young.
They've been going straight through the year,
students.
Right through winter workouts to this.
Yep. I think a week off will be good. And
Thus the poop deck.
Thus the poop deck. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see on social media where some of the Longhorns hung out on spring break.
Oh, of course.
They like to put their business
pictures.
out there.
There'll be pictures. Everybody wants to put that's right. Their business will be out there.
I wish we had social media and like the gram, Instagram back when you were going to the poop deck.
Oh, no. Not so much.
That's one of my biggest regrets. Remember, about when I worked at the ranch for 3 summers, I just didn't document any of that stuff.
Man,
I
don't
got
want
some
any of my
pictures,
stuff documented.
But kids today, man, they got everything on their phone. I think my wife has like 8,000 pictures on her phone. Or something.
I mean, that was in the 70s. And you know what happened in the 70s?
I want pictures.
Everything was but I had cut off jeans. I mean, I had cut off jeans.
By the way, that's back in style with the
don't tell
the girls.
Me.
Oh yeah,
I got a few pairs.
Still?
With shorts?
Jean shorts. Well, no, if you were, I'm sure out at the barbecue cook-off last weekend, there'd be a lot of ladies with boots on and then the really high cut up to the top of the top.
That's game day attire.
Cut off jeans with
the cut off jeans. We didn't go knee. We were up to thigh area.
Yeah. Yes, kind of board short looking things.
And way undersized.
Cut nut huggers?
I mean, just hugging them. They're just screaming
I
for
wear them
help.
on the leg sometimes. It's a good bathing suit.
These days?
Yeah.
Really?
Like the cutoff jean. Now, I'm okay with if you take a pair of scissors and shear those things off.
Yes. I didn't buy them. No,
but if you buy
them.
jorts,
no. Yeah, you got to make them yourself. You got to fray the ends.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you don't wear like the Daisy Dukes that I'm talking about.
No.
Good.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, there is.
Well, I haven't tried them on in a while. They might be riding up.
Hole in the back pocket.
I guess in
the back pocket.
You're having a conversation these days, and you're talking about something that happened, and you can almost always find a picture of it. You're like, oh yeah, let me show you. Whatever. We didn't do that back when I was, working at the ranch or doing Dallas Cowboys training camp, working there and covering it. How many pictures I have of Dion and his Mercedes? Golf cart that he had, Troy Aikman, the Cowboys. I mean, those are like legendary moments in my brain, but I don't have a visual of them. Now I would have your poop deck visual.
Oh,
that dude, your buddy from Bethlehem who walked by would have said, hey, Bucky, let me snap a picture.
Let me take a quickie of you and your 4 guys on the blanket.
And that would have been on Instagram in like a moment.
No.
And everybody in your hometown would have been calling you saying, what the heck are you doing?
These are my roommates. Oh, I bet they are.
What are you doing down there, huh?
Yeah. Come on, man.
What were you saying, Ty, that it's the worst to have all these pictures?
Yeah, no, I kind of got off the whole social media. I have like one picture on my Instagram.
There you go.
It's just not. It's not a good thing to be on there all day, which a lot of people my age are.
Hey, by the way, I did post something on my Instagram yesterday, which I rarely do, but we have put out the first edition of our podcast, Buck, Eyes on Texas Pod.
Ready to go?
Yeah, we had the audio version out on Wednesday with Spotify and Apple iTunes, and my podcast with Mike Craven of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. But we've now got the full video. The YouTube is up and getting some good response. We appreciate that. It's at my Twitter, Instagram, of course, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which is the Republic of Football is where you can find it under all their podcasts. It's called Eyes on Texas Pod, deep dive into Texas football and spring practice, plus a little combine review. We'll be taping that each and every week and have continuing content as we go.
Yeah, and I didn't do snuff back in those days, so I didn't have that ring in my back in my Daisy Dukes, my little.
Somebody sent us our picture of their legs and their short.
No more of those pictures, please.
We don't need
you asked for pictures.
Your hairy leg pictures.
We don't want to see those.
What
I wasn't a snuff. I wasn't.
When
a
did you
snuff
start
guy.
snuffing?
Once I started coaching.
That's something
Copenhagen. I was doing Copenhagen.
If I have one.
One time I
I'm
smoked
proud of.
cigarettes.
I've never smoked. I smoked. By the way, the night I had that I don't drink tequila anymore, I smoked like 4 cigarettes in one night, and that's it.
I smoked 2 packs. That's how I quit smoking.
And I think that was part of my bad night. Was a lot of tequila, a lot of Bud Light,
Nicotine,
and then smoking for the first time. What the heck was I doing? Didn't end well, and I really haven't smoked. I haven't had a cigarette since.
Well, that's how
or snuff. Even though I grew up all
that's
around
exactly
baseball my whole life.
That's how I quit. I
never did the chewing back.
I indulged myself, and then I give up stuff. Like I played poker one night, and I said I really want to give up this smoking things. I was smoking Marlboros and
what else are you smoking?
Cools and all that stuff. I went smoking. I went no, nothing during that time. I wasn't in college. I mean, I'd come from a little town. Weed wasn't a thing. It was all about the alcohol then.
So when you said you drove from Boston or Connecticut down there, it was up in smoke. It was just cigarettes.
Oh well. The guys in the front, the guys in the front had their way with stuff, and they would all come through the back and out the back window.
Okay.
It was a contact high at that time, but I was just I was just a drinker, And then and kids don't do it, don't experiment with it. I wanted to do everything, but I would say in my life except for heroin. I've done LSD, window pane. I've done, I've done something. I've experimented with a little bit of everything. And I've seen. I went, as a matter of fact, on my way to Boston College one time. I stopped at a heroin house with a friend of mine.
Glad you didn't.
And the guy sat there right on the couch, and they did it right in front of me. And they said, "Would you want to get a hit of this?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." I'm like, "That needle is not very pleasing to me. The one you just passed around and nobody wiped it off." I was like, "I don't think so." But all that other stuff, I experimented with all that stuff. I mean, that's when Aaron Rodgers talks about certain things, I know about the window pane, the LSD, and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is not experimental. That stuff is bad. Anytime
we mention Aaron Rodgers and the psychedelics, we typically will get a text from our friend, the Horn Psychologist, who said it's actually really effective. He advises his clients a lot of times to dive deep into some things that they're holding in and not dealing with. But he says only under professional supervision would he.
Oh, you mean me being in front of my dorm when the rain was coming down, looking up into the light?
No, that would not be under professional.
It can go downhill pretty quick.
Oh, it went. I had some of those bad rides before. That stuff is not. That's not a.
And I would only do it
thing.
under a doctor's orders.
And you don't even. That's not even a play thing. Part of it.
We'll be back when we do. We load up more conversations. We also got the Blitz and the Salacious Gossip and the Blitz before the end of the hour, and a Craig Way report. We're absolutely loaded on a great Friday, and we're glad you're with us. Good debates this morning. Texas basketball. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Apparently, the New York Jets' current players have made their choice. They'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than go after Lamar Jackson, it appears, because Sauce Gardner and some other New York Jets burned a cheesehead last night on their social media to woo Aaron Rodgers, apparently. Burned a cheesehead.
There you go.
What else you got to do? Also, you know what's underway, Buck? The World Baseball Classic. The baseball version of the World Cup.
Okay.
Which has begun, and there's already been some chaotic scenes. How about Go Team Czech Republic? They beat China. China
China went down?
Walk. Down goes China. Yeah, they're up 5-4. Big 3-run homer, and Czech Republic gets a big win. USA plays Great Britain today out in Arizona. But the World Baseball Classic is underway. And it's pretty cool. You know, if you're like me, I'm an Astros fan. But like the Astros have 14 different players playing for different countries. And so you're going to root for the USA. But most of the Astros are playing for like Team Dominican Republic, Team Venezuela. Of course, Kyle Tucker's playing on Team USA, I believe. So, baseball. And it's interesting for how the managers of the teams and the owners have to deal with this because, you got to let them go play for their country. But it's right in the middle of spring training. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, go Czech Republic. What else? We have Taiwan and Italy playing a ball game and the world's game right there, my friend. I know soccer is the world's game. By the way, soccer this weekend, big one for Austin FC. They've got their first road match of the young season.
All right.
They're 1-1. They gave up those 3 points to St. Louis, trying to go get them back. They play on the road at Real Salt Lake this weekend.
He scored some goals, you're right.
Score some goals. Of course, they had that really ugly game in their CONCACAF match on Tuesday down in the Dominican Republic. Speaking of that, Ty, what did you ever learn about that? They just didn't care in that game, or what was the deal?
Played a lot of backups. The AstroTurf,
they played on AstroTurf,
or just turf. Not a natural surface. For a lot of soccer players, that's just a lot of those guys maybe have never ever played on turf.
No, they generally don't do that. They won't do that.
Waiting to happen.
Yeah,
yeah, and our top flight guys like DeRusi and Rigoni just being out, not being there, I think that was huge. But we definitely should have won that game regardless.
Well, and the fact that they lost it 3-0, and Austin FC had an own goal, what an ugly one, or they kicked it in their own net. They can still advance, but they're going to play that same team, that group from Haiti, this week here in Austin coming up, but they've got to win it 4-0 because it's by complete total point differential over 2 matches, or points over 2 matches. So, but that's not out of the question against the team that if you put some starters on your field and in front of your crowd, you could get 4 goals.
Got to get the defense right.
And you got to
back line has been subpar to say the least.
And who's the young guy that got hurt? The defenseman that I really hurt them. Pulled his abductor muscle, which is your groin essentially, as they say. But so that's Austin FC early season action. It's a busy weekend. Man, we got March. We've got basketball everywhere. We've got baseball, World Baseball Classic underway, soccer. And you know what starts on Monday, Buck? NFL free agency. My friend. Free agency. I love the term legal tampering because you can't actually sign people until Wednesday, but you can start to talk about it.
They tampered the hell out of between the owners last week.
The collusion?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I think all the people talk about collusion in the Lamar Jackson case. That collusion began the minute that contract was signed with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, don't think that the minute that was – they did what? The 31 other owners are like,
we got to stop this now.
Hey,
today.
None of us will do this, right? I mean, what the hell's going on with Jimmy Haslam in Cleveland? That can't happen. I mean, the collusion is not just surrounding this Lamar Jackson thing. I think there was probably like a blood oath the minute that happened. Hey, do not let this happen again. And if you remember, in the wake of the Deshaun Watson trade from Houston to Cleveland and the subsequent guaranteed $230 million deal, who was the most angry about it? Immediately, vocally, publicly. The owner of the Baltimore Ravens, Steve. The owner of the Ravens came out immediately. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, the ones who really need this to happen is for.
And guess what? If the
Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, that's right. Because if the Baltimore Ravens were to eclipse that contract or even go close to it, guaranteed, it would be the Cincinnati Bengals and going, really? We can about to sit down with Joe Burrow. Can we stop?
Got to talk to this guy soon.
So if that's and again, people will say collusion, but it's also individual business that needs to be. I keep saying this, but Deshaun Watson's contract is not also fully guaranteed. It's only 4 years long, which means their cap hit this year with Deshaun Watson is almost $54 million to their cap. I mean, There's almost never been a quarterback that has taken up over $40 million of a cap. This is over 50 for Deshaun Watson, and that's the hit in each of the first 2 seasons because it's all fully guaranteed, and it's not spread out over the life of some 10 or 12-year contract where you can separate dollars. So, I mean, you could argue that Brown's salary cap is wrecked, and the guy's barely played any football for him yet. And obviously the other teams don't want to be in that same situation. It's the situation the Cowboys are in. It's the situation the Cowboys are in because the Cowboys now have Dak Prescott as a $49 million cap hit this year. And he's counting for 21% of their cap this season, which means that's why you're hearing Stephen Jones saying we have to renegotiate that, meaning stretch it out and move some of that money around so they can be flexible in free agency and sign some guys back. And at a time when Cowboys fans are wondering, should they move on from Dak Prescott, Cowboys are planning to extend Dak Prescott long haul.
Pay him in the back end.
Ooh. Pay him in the back end.
Right?
You'll pay it eventually.
Yeah, it's going to get paid.
But that's where the collusion is. I don't think there's collusion. I think every other owner realizes
we can't do that.
That's a slippery slope, y'all. But you also can understand a player, Lamar Jackson and others saying, wait a second, they did it.
God, Daniel Jones must be happy as hell this week.
That contract, as I said yesterday, if you add up, because remember the Cowboys franchise tagged Dak Prescott 2 straight years, so they guaranteed him salary for 2 straight years. I mean, obviously the Giants could have done the same thing, and they probably would have, except they had to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Yes. They didn't want Barkley to get 2 guys in the same year, and they could only tag one of them. Well, I mean, the contract is 4 years, $160 million for Daniel Jones, but 82. The first 2 years they're going to pay him $82 million, and that's most of the guaranteed money he's getting. And that would have been right around the exact number they would have paid him had they franchise tagged him twice, like the Cowboys did Dak Prescott. So, he was going to make his money. And I always say that about these quarterbacks, whether you think they're any good or not, it is the going rate for a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And if you're above the top 15 of quarterbacks, that's where it's at. I mean, that's what the market bears right now for the top quarterbacks.
And none of them are taking any less.
It doesn't matter if you don't like them or not as a player.
Yeah. They're not taking any less.
They have an agent, and the agent's going to say, look, my guy's numbers would say he's one of the top 15 quarterbacks in this league. And
got to pay him his worth.
Those guys are making X amount of dollars. Pay the man.
Wow.
And that's kind of the rub, and that's why Dak makes what Dak makes. And, I mean, I still don't get the Kyler Murray contract. I mean, if you look back on that one, because you can question some contracts. You can question Russell Wilson's trade to Denver and then the subsequent deal. I think at the time we all thought that was a good move for Denver, and now
I did. I thought they were going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, but the Kyler Murray deal when he was being a baby and taking everything off his social media. If I'm Arizona, if I had any leadership whatsoever, I hold firm on that deal because you don't have to sign the guy.
They overcome that in the next 5 years.
He's got to play.
Well, yeah. They're not getting rid of him.
I mean, that's been a worst case scenario for the Cardinals, who are a poorly run organization, to give in to him and give him, because this is a part of the Lamar Jackson gripe too. Is not just the Deshaun Watson 230 guaranteed, but Kyler Murray in his deal got 190 guaranteed in that contract that they did with him. And then, of course, it all blew up when the clause in the contract about playbook came out, right? That you have to spend at least 4 hours during the week studying your playbook, not playing video games. That was obviously a bad look for the Cardinals and for Kyler Murray. And but yeah, now they have a brand new coach. They have a brand new general manager, and they're walking into that situation with the quarterback.
And he's still there, yes.
That's hurt. It's got all the guaranteed money that nobody likes. And now he can't even be a part of their offseason install and can't get on the field for mini camps.
And when does he get on the field?
When does he get on the field? Yeah. Yeah, challenge for them. So
that's tough.
And that's the flip side of the Lamar Jackson story. For everybody that says he's not worth it, he just says, look, I'm better than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I'm better than Deshaun Watson. And that's debatable. We got to see Deshaun back in his form. But at the same time, you could see Lamar Jackson arguing that. So that's where that stands, and it'll all fire up on Monday. And I think I don't think there's any superstar players on the free agent market, but I think there's some pretty good players on the free agent market. And as we said to you in the 6 o'clock hour, there's now a strong belief that the days of our quarterback lives starting next week may very well include Matthew Stafford from the Los Angeles Rams. Michael Lombardi, who is a former league executive and now works for the NFL. What does he work for? NFL.net or NFL Network. He was on the Pat McAfee radio program recently, this week, Tuesday, and said Matt Stafford is fully available They, meaning the Rams, would love to trade him. They can't easily do it because he's got $57 million in guaranteed money, but they're trying to get out from under it. They've called teams, I know this. So put that name out there. Would you be interested in Matthew Stafford?
Not with the way I saw him last year. Got his Super Bowl, got his money, still owed a lot of money. Was injured.
I think I know the answer here, but I'm going to ask it because Ty is our resident Cowboys fan. Would you trade Dak Prescott for Matt Stafford?
No.
Okay. Only because of the neck injury,
yes.
Correct? If it was a clean bill of health.
If it was, yeah. I mean, if it was clean health and it was talking about a 1 to 2 year thing, yes, I'd much rather have Matthew Stafford.
I'm not taking that guy hurt. I watched him play in Detroit for years and years and years.
Hey, don't forget, I'm off the Dak train.
I know you are. Well, you're not on. Whose quarterback train are you on?
I don't know. Give him Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
There you go.
He's on
Joe
that
Burrow.
one. Joe. Smoking Joe Burrow.
Smoking Joe's about to make
I just don't think there's a point of paying, like, the Giants paid Daniel Jones
But
that
you have
money.
to.
Yeah, I know you have to, but, like, they have to realize they're never going to win a Super Bowl with him as the quarterback.
Well, yeah, I think there's only one team that wins the Super Bowl every year, so you still are trying to field a competitive team that makes the playoffs and puts themselves in the conversation.
After 1 year with that coach.
And yes,
they feel like it's going to continue. They feel like they can continue to build around that quarterback. More so, not that quarterback, but that system with that coach.
I'll be intrigued to see what the market, if there is a market for Matt Stafford. I have to think there is. Washington?
So you're going to have to be awful healthy. I'll say more physical exams.
Well, before you completed a trade, you'd have to do your medicals, right? You'd have to say, okay, we'll trade for him. We'll give up X, and we'll work on this contract, but we need a full physical. We've got to be able to examine him ourselves.
That's the same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. He's talking about having workouts for everybody.
Yeah, Odell Beckham.
I'd be at that workout, and every cut better be smooth. There can't be any hitches in your giddy up.
Yeah, that'll be another name. He is having a open workout for league executives this weekend.
If you saw any hitch in his giddy up, would you be like, sorry, we're not interested? Oh, I'm going to get over that. No.
But if he looks smooth, there would be interest in Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think there's any doubt about that. All right, we'll be back. Load up the Blitz on a Friday. You've been strong this week. It's been horrible as usual. Let's do it better and bigger on a Friday.
More horrible.
Little gossip ahead of it. First, Craig. No games, just gossip. It is brought to you by Bud Light, the frosty, cold, icy Bud Lights. This weekend, a great opportunity. So much. Spring break is here. Rodeo is underway. Texas baseball at the Dish. Texas softball at McCombs. And just getting outside in the ATX is a great opportunity for some ice-cold Bud Lights. Be safe, be smart, but do it with the world's favorite light beer, the state of Texas's favorite light beer, and, of course, the official domestic beer partner of the Texas Longhorns. Hey, Buck.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the busy weekend, by the way, load up the Blitz, 447-3776. Let's come hard on a Friday. It's only as good as you make it. You know that. Sunday night is the Academy Awards. I did not know this. Jimmy Kimmel is the host, and Jimmy Kimmel's wife will produce the show. I don't know how that all happened. They're like taking over ABC. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel, so I don't know.
Does he have his own bowl game?
Yeah. Remember when he was doing the Man Show with the other guy? Adam Carolla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his own
Still
bowl
watch
game
that.
now.
This guy's, I don't know.
I got to go see that movie, The Champions.
Oh, with Woody Harrelson?
I got to see that. I have to see that.
He's coaching the
That's
special
perfect.
kids.
Oh, yeah. That's perfect.
I was asking you this. What movies has Woody Harrelson been funny in? He was funny in Cheers. He was a comedic role.
Oh, yeah.
White Man Can't Jump.
Yes.
Zombieland.
He was in
that.
Money Train, correct?
I've never seen Money Train. Was he funny in Money Train?
I thought he was.
Because
He and Wesley were in that one also.
he was in that show where Robert Redford paid $1 million to sleep with his wife.
Oh, I felt bad for him in that movie.
What was that
so
one called?
bad. Oh, God. What was it?
Indecent
Demi
Proposal.
Moore. It wasn't
Decent
Demi Moore. It was
Proposal.
Demi
Yeah.
Moore.
Oh, yeah, that movie, man. Come on, man. But yes, I do want to see that movie too. I also, how about this? So the Academy Awards are Sunday night. I know nobody listening will watch.
Kingpin. He
Ooh,
was in Kingpin. Now he was hilarious in Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah,
Yes.
good one, very good, nice job.
That's absolutely right.
But this year, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once leads the way with 11 nominations. You know, there's only been 3 movies ever that have swept the Big 5 awards. 3 movies ever, which would be Best Picture, Best Director, Actor, Actress, and Adapted Screenplay. Could you name them? I'll give you a sec. Could you think of the 3 movies all time that have won the Big 5? They swept it. Only happened 3 times.
Gone with the Wind.
No. Good
Clark
one, though.
didn't do that.
No, I'll give them to you. The Silence of the Lambs, Clarice,
Got it.
in which, as we always tell you, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor in a lead role, and he was only on screen for 16 minutes of the entire movie. That's a nice performance. Also, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Awesome
Jack
movie.
Nicholson.
Just awesome.
And then Clark Gable in the romantic comedy called It Happened One Night. Those are your 3.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it. We'll see how it goes this time. And what I know won't happen, Will Smith will not slap Chris Rock this weekend.
Not this year, no.
Don't believe so. Don't believe that will happen this time around. But, you know, a lot of people have mentioned Kingpin. Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell had Woody Harrelson in it. He was in Anger Management. Okay. Yeah, Kingpin's the bowling flick, right? With
Yes.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie, yes.
Classic. I've always argued he's a kook, but I do believe that Dennis Quaid or
The most
Randy
talented
Quaid,
brother.
Randy Quaid is the better actor than Dennis Quaid, even though Dennis Quaid's been the big, lead actor.
Yes.
I think Randy's the better thespian.
Dennis is the better performer,
And he's a kook now.
musician.
Yeah, well, Dennis Quaid and the Sharks. Remember, he had the band.
Oh, he just had
We used to
do
play in the
that.
Dennis Quaid event. Remember, they'd have
Barefooted,
the
yes.
golf tournament and everything. That was fun. Good times back in the day. Let's go to the Blitz.
Here you go. First Blitzer, you're up.
Yeah, y'all crazy about Lamar Jackson. I don't know how many times I've seen him underthrow receivers. This is Hollywood Brown.
This is Hollywood Brown. Love it.
Oh, yeah, like he blew up in Arizona.
Next Blitzer, talk to us.
The New York Football Giants are going to bring Odell Beckham Jr. back home. The prodigal son returns, baby.
Wow.
How about
That'd
the
be
Knicks, by the way?
interesting.
How about Sal's Knicks?
Yeah.
Knicks are playing some good hoop.
Yes, they are playing some D. Next Blitzer, you're up.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
2 things. Have you taken Mama Mule to see Magic Mike yet? And
No.
the second thing, when is E going to give up the Nunley story to Ty? Come on, E, quit
Next
teasing
week.
us with
Ty
it.
needs it. Ty
Spring
needs
break.
it next week.
Spring
Spring break. Next Blitzer,
When
talk
no
to
one's
us.
listening.
Bucky, dude,
Yes.
I don't have to pay another man to sleep with his wife. This is Tim Duncan.
Oh, jeez. Next, Blitzer, you're up.
Of course.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson throws a pretty ball. This is Vince Young.
You people, you're at your worst this week. I like it a lot.
Venom. By the way, Lamar Jackson, Vince Young, good comp. Now, Vince is bigger than Lamar, but yeah, I mean, Vince had an unorthodox throwing motion, kind of like Lamar.
Little sidearm.
But he won football games at the end of the day, and his own immaturity, couldn't stay in that league, and then Jeff Fisher and all that went on. But I do think Lamar Jackson still has a high ceiling to his career, but that's been debated all week long. So there you go. Hey, would you guys try this? I was meant to get to this in gossip, but it turns out that the people who make Hidden Valley ranch dressing, it is National Ranch Dressing Day, by the way, are coming out with ranch dressing ice cream. Anyone?
No.
Maybe?
Ty's a definite maybe.
I do love ranch.
That's Rhea waiting to happen. Just is. That's
sprinkle
not
a
good.
little bacon bits on the top of it.
Rhea with bacon, then. Thank you.
Like Rhea Perlman from
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, National Ranch. What's the best for ranch? Pizza?
Pizza. I can't eat pizza without ranch.
How about like Double Dave's pepperoni rolls?
Austin's Pizza Ranch
Oh,
is magical. As a former worker there, I know the secrets.
don't
Oh,
tell them.
don't tell the secrets.
It's good stuff.
By the way, that ranch dressing ice cream will be available at your local Walmart coming up on March 20th if you're intrigued. B&E on the Horn. Our man CB on Twitter has let us know that the same people who are releasing the ranch ice cream also delivered a product called Kraft Macaroni and Cheese Ice Cream in the past. Van Luden. You know, why can't we just leave Yelp well enough alone? Macaroni and cheese on its own is great. Ice cream is great. What do we need macaroni and cheese ice cream for? Ranch on its own, great.
Yes.
Come on now. I know we try to push envelopes and try new things.
Yuck.
Hey, it's going to be a busy weekend. We got a lot to do. A lot of basketball, Longhorns hoops tonight. Doubleheader at the Big 12 tournament. It's the semifinals. Kansas without Bill Self against Iowa State, and then Texas and TCU. Of course, the Longhorns just lost in Fort Worth not long ago. Their last regular season road game was a disappointing loss where they lost 75-73, but really didn't play great in that game. We'll see if
the same people that eat these ice creams, this ranch and this macaroni and cheese ice cream, are the same people that can bite their toenails, reach down, get their foot up in their mouth.
I cannot do that.
Yeah. These are the same people. These are the ones that can do this, that eat this ice cream.
Speaking of nails, are you proud of me, Buck, that I used to bite my nails?
No, you don't bite your nails anymore. What happened to that? Give that up for
I made
rent?
it a vow. No, first of the year.
Oh, really?
And now I carry nail files in my car. So because normally when I do bite my nails, it's when I'm driving. Like I'm sitting in traffic and I'll just be chewing on my nails.
Me constantly.
Yeah. So I bought a little pack of nail files, and so instead of that, when I'm sitting at a light, I'll just file them away. Yeah. No.
NFL Sundays. I come out.
But you still don't run out of gas here while you're filing your nails and doing your makeup, do you?
I still never run out. I've still never run out of gas.
Okay. I got to go see Ma because mine's are a little too long.
You get yours done. You pay people to do it.
That's one of my biggest fears is nail filers.
Why?
I
don't
so
weird, man.
Chalkboards, nail filers.
You don't believe in sunscreen, and now you're afraid of nail files.
I love the sunscreen one. It's amazing.
I'd like a nail file because then it feels smooth. I don't know. But, that's been an adjustment I've made in my world.
There you go.
Hey, also, adjustments in worlds are coming. I got hoops this weekend, baseball. Longhorns are playing something called the Manhattan Jaspers this weekend out of the Bronx, New York. They have where do they play? Have a baseball field. You know what I'm saying? Manhattan coming here to play Texas.
Stickball.
And they're not very good. This should be a wipeout of a series for the Longhorns. If it's not, be concerned. Because Manhattan, and this is one that will actually probably hurt Texas in the whole overall RPI thing, big picture. But you need wins. You need
to have a win
to find roles and find out who can step up. Because everything they do this weekend and next weekend builds to the following weekend when they host Texas Tech to start conference play. That's the way the schedule rolls out. I think it's the same weekend that the NASCAR crew is here and Dell Match Play is going on. As Texas will play Texas Tech in baseball in a huge series at Dish Falk Field early season. So looking forward to that. But, yeah, you got to get yourself right. And the football this weekend, you'll hear a lot that the NFL's free agency period begins on Wednesday. And that's technically true because that's the start of the league year. But as a practical matter, free agency starts Monday at noon because the owners put in a legal tampering period, the cycle of the 48 hours of legal tampering, which means this weekend, this is the last weekend to try to get your own free agents re-signed and get them under contract to keep them off the market. This is the last weekend to make roster decisions. Like I just saw where the Vikings have released Adam Thielen. Your Vikings have said adios to Adam Thielen, which is not a big surprise, but he's a good player, 9 years. He'll have some interest as a veteran receiver around the league, I would think. But they have Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne, and they'll probably draft a receiver. But Adam Thielen out. But those are the kind of decisions. It's going to be very busy for all 32 teams trying to be ready to go at noon on Monday. Because by Wednesday, when league year opens, most of the big free agents, that'll be done. I mean, all the deals will be agreed to. Agents will have, the people are going to come in and be real aggressive in free agency. Those things, that'll be right there on Monday.
Your Texas will have Jimmy G.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
That doesn't sound. How does that sound, though? That doesn't sound.
It's got to coincide with what else they do in the draft. I mean, if they settle for Jimmy G only and don't draft a quarterback,
you're not going to be happy about that.
I won't be real happy about that. But if they sign Jimmy G to bridge to the rookie, that'll be a full off-season assessment for me.
That's the part I don't understand. I mean, just because they know Jimmy G, they wouldn't leave the big tall dude that's there already and then still sign a young quarterback.
Who, Davis Mills?
I mean, why wouldn't they keep just Davis Mills? I mean, I know
because again, new coaches. And
Yeah.
there's a new head coach who was in San Francisco with Jimmy G. There's a new offensive coordinator who was in San Francisco with Jimmy G.
So the expectations that if they brought him, they expected they can win
Right.
a lot of games with Jimmy G.
Well, I mean, that's just how
Depending on what
competitors
a lot
are,
of-
right? D'Amico Ryans didn't coming in to go 2-14. He thinks, I guess in his mind, we can build this roster with and through the draft and free agency, and we can win some ball games next year and put ourselves in the conversation. And Jimmy G's been a winning quarterback when healthy. The when healthy part is the big tag on him. He can't play a full 16 games, which, again, your offensive
How's
coordinator.
that offensive line there?
Pretty good. It was above average, I think, with Laramie Tunsil at left tackle and Titus Howard at right tackle. They drafted number 15 overall last year, Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. He's going to be a good interior player for them for the long haul. They don't have a center. Houston will have to draft a center with one of their draft picks. They need some help there. But offensive line pretty good. By the way, let me finish Jimmy G. If you're Bobby Slowick, the new offensive coordinator, Jimmy G can help you install your offense, right? You're trying to install a brand new offense with terminology. Jimmy G already knows it all, and because he was the passing game coordinator in San Francisco. So that's where the connection goes. But Jimmy G will probably have better options.
The Raiders?
Maybe the Raiders.
Did you think he wants to go somewhere where his backup is, he knows he's going to end up getting a spot taken?
I don't think there's any place Jimmy G goes where the team may not also draft a quarterback very high.
Vegas
has the 7th pick. I think Jay will take a quarterback.
Carolina
has the 9th pick. I think they will take a quarterback. The name that jumped into my head when we heard this Matt Stafford story is the Raiders. Why wouldn't the Raiders get involved for Matthew Stafford? Again, I go back to Josh McDaniel. If you sour on Derek Carr that quickly, you better upgrade it.
Yeah,
and I think you can sell to your owner, Mark Davis, hey, look, we kicked Derek to the curb, but we landed with Matt Stafford, which he just won a Super Bowl. And you can sell that, right? You can sell that in Vegas, and whether it works or not, I don't know.
God, Mark Davis must be going, what the hell did you guys do?
What was Carr, like, how much money are the Raiders paying Derek Carr this year?
Nothing. Remember, they had to release him on.
But they still have a cap hit on him, right?
I'll look that up, but it's not a lot because remember they did it ahead of time. They did it on February. They had the deadline of February 15th before they had to guarantee like a $35 million balloon payment to him, and they cut him before that. So it doesn't cost as much as it would have, but it'll be some, but not a lot. But again, to your point of Jimmy G to one of those teams, Jimmy G can't guarantee wherever he goes they're not also going to draft the future. I think
Correct.
He's not in that position. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's seen as kind of a bridge quarterback at this point. Now, I think in his mind he can be a better quarterback, and I think that's what Houston would bank on, that we could bring him in. He could help install our offense. And
win some games.
And, we can draft a young quarterback. It may also give the Texans some flexibility to not draft, which I don't like this, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, and draft an Anthony Richardson or a Will Levis, who's a little bit more of a project.
That means you're going to see a lot of Jimmy G for 2 years, probably.
Yeah.
It's only $5.6 million for Carr.
Yeah. So they could afford Matt Stafford, and of course the Rams would have to get a bunch of Matt Stafford's money if they traded him. So we'll look at teams now, but that Mike Lombardi has reported that absolutely Matt Stafford is available. Now you got to start considering him a player that's out there that you can go get if you want. But yeah, the point is by Tuesday when we come in here, a lot of the top free agents will already be signed and agreed to terms because that's been going on since the Combine.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's the legal tampering period, and then there's the illegal tampering period, which we know has already been happening between agents and teams. And hey, what do you think about my guy? What do you think about what we're doing over here?
Our buddy Brandon Mars, Top Gun tomorrow, burgers, beers tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And the biggest sale out there on that steel equipment, the ones that you forgot to get last year.
Sell them generators,
them generators and those chainsaws that you forgot to pick up.
Everybody needed a chainsaw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
Now you didn't have one. Now you can go get one.
You're going to sale.
Yeah, that's their open house every year with Brandon Mars and his team. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, my friend Charlie Wilson over at Callahan's General Store, they're having their big 45th anniversary birthday celebration tomorrow over at Callahan. So stop at both. And by the way, the Top Gun Rentals location is over on Anderson Lane right there in the little triangle. They're their main location, so go check them out. And Callahan's, they have live music, live food. And I think Charlie told me that they're having a big family reunion after that, too, because the Callahan/Wilson family is a big one.
Nice.
Through Austin.
A lot of weekend stuff going
Everybody
on.
knows everybody. Yeah, well, it's spring break. Weather's turned. It's going to be pretty this weekend. There's a chance for some rain, but looking pretty darn nice for sure. So, yeah, free agency will ratchet up. I had this number. By position, for 2023, the current cap hit, the most expensive player at every position headed into free agency, Deshaun Watson is the most expensive quarterback, $54.9 million for the Browns. It's a huge number. The most expensive running back as it stands right now, Zeke Elliott, $16.7 million, most expensive running back. Tyreek Hill is quarterback. George Kittle. The most expensive offensive lineman is Laramie Tunsil, left tackle, Houston Texans. Also, Joey Bosa is the most expensive defensive end. Darius Slay, the corner in Philly, the most expensive corner. Justin Tucker, kicker, Baltimore Ravens, most expensive by salary cap hit of for the Baltimore Ravens, $5.9 million.
He ain't going anywhere.
Nope, he's just Mr. Reliable. Bang him through.
Absolutely. That's for sure.
This is macaroni ice cream, just as God intended, right? Yeah, I think not.
No.
It says, sorry about your toilets. Ranch ice cream would do that to me, yeah.
For sure.
Hey, sir, sorry about your turlet.
God.
Sorry about that.
And yes, I did have the black outfit in college. Yes,
What's
I had
that?
The black satin pants with a black satin shirt with a red rose.
Where was the rose?
The rose was in the back of the shirt, and the sequin shirt, sequin shoes, a silver with the red.
And where did you wear that?
I wore to a game. I wore that outfit to a
traveling?
No, not on the travel. No, at home. home game. Never got on a bus with that outfit on.
I'm immediately thinking like Kyler Murray.
I did dress
Remember
up.
when Kyler dressed up like Gumby this year when he went to a Cardinals game?
I did dress up as a coach's wife on a trip to the hotel once at Boston College. I dressed up.
You cross-dressed?
I cross-dressed as a female on the bus.
Was that a prank?
It was a prank.
On the coach? Or his wife?
Well, I mean, I sat up there where the coaches would sit.
Are you sure this wasn't at the poop deck?
No, dude. It was going over to the hotel the night before a game.
What'd you wear? Like a blouse?
I had on the whole thing. I had.
How have I not heard this story?
I had on the fishnets before.
Years.
You put on fishnets?
I had fishnets on and sat in the front seat where the coaches' wives would sit.
Like heels and everything?
There were some big shoes to fill there.
Like size 12 shoes.
I made
Where
it.
did you get shoes?
Goodwill. There's some Yetis. There's some Yetis that turn
I
stuff
need to hear
in.
more on that. But we need to do something very, very important.
Absolutely.
And, you keep score in sports. And turns out that this year with our Supreme Lending picks for charity, along with Chris Waters, International Realty, the Horn in the matchup against Coke FM, Christopher Waters, and Supreme Lending, and our friend John McClellan, we finished dead ass last, Buck. Dead ass last
Come
as a team.
on.
The winners were the crew down at Coke FM, and it's time to pay that off. John McClellan, Christopher Waters on our Vaqueros hotline. Guys, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, how's the spring? Everything good in the lending and real estate industry? I know it's topsy-turvy, I think would be a good term for it, correct?
It's an interesting market. I'm sure Chris can attest to that.
Interesting.
You guys are the best in the business, though.
That's exactly right.
Well, we appreciate that. And you took my thunder away, though, guys. You did come in dead ass last in the pick'em contest, which I'm trying to figure out how the Coke actually beat y'all again this year. They had some very strange betting techniques, I believe.
Yeah, they would have weeks where they'd all pick the exact same games.
Right.
And so we don't do that. Because we have 4 different shows picking games as they think they are, so they're all different. So we kind of knock each other out. But yeah, we did not live up to our sports expert standards. So we should be ashamed of ourselves, guys.
When's the last time you guys took
Chris,
first
I do
place?
want to give you some props, Chris, because y'all came in second place, which is fantastic.
Man, and you,
Supreme Lending and the Horn.
We were so close to getting first too. That last selection of wins, we were just a little off. And
Chris, as long as John is there, you don't have to worry about winning it. You'll always be second or third or fourth. That's just the way that works with that group.
Yeah,
I got first place last year.
You
Come on
did.
now.
Yeah, we handed the check to the Christopher Waters team last year, and they, of course, handed it to a great charity. And, I do think watching the standings during the year, we were like in first place with 3 weeks to play and collapsed and all the way to the bottom. That's how quickly it can flip in these seasons when you're making that many picks and that many games. And it's so much fun, though. And, John and Chris, thanks for what you do, because here's the net outcome. Coke FM is going to send a check for $5,000 to the Benny Raines Memorial Scholarship Fund. Chris, you and your team are going to send $2,500 to your charity, which you can talk about, and John, to your charity as well, $1,500, and then the Horn is going to send $1,000 to the Neighborhood Longhorns program. Chris, since you finished second, tell us about where your $2,500 will go.
Yeah, so we're donating to Community First. For anybody that's familiar with Community First, it's a very innovative development in East Austin where they are trying to help people that are currently homeless, and get them into a home and help them get employment. And I would encourage anybody listening to the show to go check out Community First. You can donate your time, you can donate money. They're doing some really cool things over there with 3D printed houses to help people get off the streets. And so, as most people know, this is a growing problem in Austin as real estate prices grow and affordability becomes a challenge. And so, this is our small way of helping solve that problem here in Austin.
Oh man, I love that, and that's
awesome.
As you say, I know our friend Johnny Rogers has been involved in the Community First, and everybody complains about it, and the homeless and people, and where do you put them? And this is actually a group that's really trying to do something about it, not just complain about it, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I think that's a great one, and I know yours, John, has been military related, and it's a great cause as well.
Yeah, it's the SEAL Legacy Foundation. It's a foundation here based out of Austin, and they help the family of fallen SEALs and wounded SEALs when they come back with education, housing, benefits. It's just a fantastic organization that I've had the joy to hang around and be with a lot of these guys over the last 6 or 7 years. But yeah, SEAL Legacy Foundation based right here in Austin, Texas. If you have a chance, check it out at seallegacy.org. They are fantastic, giving back to the guys that protect us on a daily basis that we don't even know.
Yeah, and their families. That is so great. Appreciate you guys doing both of those, and everybody that organizes this thing. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we should do like a March Madness bracket thing. I don't know. We need to make amends for last place because we did terrible.
We're horrible.
We're horrible. I'm going to blame. What show do we blame the most? Is it the midday show, or is it us? Are we pulling up the rear here? But either way, hey guys, thanks so much, and look forward to another football season of fun and picks and talking to you guys. And thanks for your partnership with us. And then for what you do for our community with it, Christopher Waters Realty, and certainly with John McClellan and Supreme Lending. Thank you, guys.
You guys stay safe out there.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. All right, there you go. Chris Waters and sold your house, did he not?
He did.
Yeah, man.
Did that in 3 days, as a matter of fact.
3 days.
Yes.
John McClellan Supreme Lending does my mortgage and helped us refi the mortgage. Yeah, good people there. That's we don't just talk about it and talk to them. We work with them because they're good people and really good at what they do. Yeah, that Community First thing is a really, not that John, the SEAL teams are always supporting them, but pretty awesome. By the way, in addition to promotion, we mentioned what's going on at Top Gun. We're doing some at Callahan's and now those partners of ours. And we mentioned also earlier that Craig Flowers, Buck, the Colonel, he's now a aspiring horse racing owner. He's
They're not aspiring. Those dudes got it going on. If they can
don't tell my wife stables.
Yeah, keep that pony going. And that's not like My Little Pony. That's a big sucker to
well, if you're
go.
into this story, and you should be, that Craig and his team are a part of a horse named Confidence Game. Great name too, by the way. They call it the People's Horse. They bought their little stable bought this horse for $30,000. It's now like the 4th rated horse in the world, and it's going to race at the Kentucky Derby, which can shoot it up, and they're going to be worth a lot of money.
Oh, it's already worth a lot of money. Believe me, the guys from Dubai know all about this horse.
Tomorrow on The High Ground, which is Craig's show with Jamie Frazier and the team, at 10 o'clock, they're going to have very special guests. It'll be Kurt Godby, who's the former TCU baseball player, played with Craig at TCU, but he's really been the ringleader of this whole Don't Tell My Wife stables. He was their infielder, I think. And then Keith DeSormo, more importantly, Keith DeSormo is their trainer. And he helps them find these little diamonds in the rough.
These
horses.
little athletes.
Yeah, man. Identifying the good values that have a high ceiling. He's like at the NFL scouting combine. He's doing that in the horse racing field, and that's what's helped them grow that stable. So pretty cool. If you're into horse racing, learning about the Kentucky Derby or that story, be listening. You should always listen to The High Ground at 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings, but tomorrow in particular, to check that out. So there you go. Also, you should be listening tonight and watching tonight when the Longhorns play TCU. Speaking of the Horned Frogs, they're going to play in the semifinal round of the March Madness or the Big 12 tournament. And you should be listening, Buck. How about on Sunday? I'll be here at 5 o'clock with Isaiah Collier, Patrick Davis, and guests.
Two coaches. You'll be here with the two coaches, Patrick and Isaiah.
Patrick is a coach. Isaiah is a coach's son.
Coach's son, yes.
But they'll be talking about matchup zones and 2-3 zones and
there you go.
Boxing 1 and all the things that we'll be talking about. But, really from 5 to 7, we're going to have a special on March Madness because the Longhorns, men and women, both, going to be seated very highly. They're both having great seasons, a lot of excitement. So we want to be here with you. As the bracket is revealed starting on CBS at 5 o'clock, we will go with it and talk about the draw and how the Longhorns land, the other Big 12 teams, where they land in the field. what little matchups that the NCAA kind of puts together, and then we'll talk about it with you. So be with us Sunday night at 5 o'clock for the March Madness Tournament Selection Special here on the Horn. So, yeah, it's a busy weekend, Buck. It really is.
A lot going on.
You going to be gardening?
I'll be
falling
gardening
off your truck?
No, dude. That deal is over with.
You're done falling?
I'm done trying to get to that part where I fall. Yes, I'm being very, very careful. I'm using step ladders to get up on the truck. I'm doing all kinds of stuff so I don't fall.
Good for you.
I'm not taking judo classes yet.
Somebody wanted to know if Carly Simon liked the black suit outfit.
This was sophomore year. This was just about in that time.
Hey, now.
I mean, I took it off when I got over to, because, by the way, at that time in 1970, it would be 74, there was no black coaches on the staff. So if you thought I was one of their wives or whatever, it was like it. I mean, I looked really, really good. Going in, that was like one of those Halloween night kind of games.
And we're talking about the black suit, not when you wore the females' clothes on the bus.
Oh, the females' clothes. I sat there and.
Can you tell me this again? So you dressed up like one of the coaches' wives.
Yeah, I sat where the coaches generally sit on the bus the night before the hotel. Going to the hotel, before the game. I sat up front where the coaches would sit.
Were you trying to disguise yourself and
as
fool them?
Yes, I was trying to fool them. I had long hair on and the stockings and stuff. And I fooled most of those fools as they walked right on by me. Just kind of waved at them. They were thinking, wow, which coach has got this woman? Because I was looking good. Legs all.
Ty.
Yeah.
Ty. Did you take a Polaroid of that maybe? Because I know you're pictures on our phones
we didn't
now.
have phones back then, those kind of phones.
Did you take a Polaroid? Because I know you had that stack of Polaroids that were in rubber band under your pillow or whatever that was.
Those Polaroids. There's only one of those Polaroids out there. Somebody has
Ty,
that.
do you know what that is, a Polaroid camera?
Yes, I know what a Polaroid is.
Okay, I'm just asking.
You go to the drugstore and get them.
I have a Polaroid camera.
Well, yeah, they've kind of come back. It's kind of a retro throwback thing. But yes.
I've done some photo shoots.
Hey, now.
There you go. Wow.
Mixed company photo shoots?
Well, maybe.
There you go. Don't let those get out.
Don't remember when Jennifer Lawrence let it get into the.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it's a lot safer than putting anything on the internet.
And once it got in the cloud, it was all over for J-Law. We'll be back. Wow. B&E on the Horn.
Folks, at Jaguar Land Rover of Austin, it is that unique car buying experience that you deserve. And folks, Don Snell Sr. since 1973 has been getting it done with the Snell Motor Company. They believe it is a privilege to be the provider of all of your automotive needs. While you're there, do say hello to Poppy and Cheyenne as you enter that door. Plus, you're going to get 6 service advisors to help you out with your decision on the car or SUV of your choice. They are the 9-time Pinnacle Award winners for overall performance in the automotive industry. They are the top 20 in the nation. While you're there, do have an opportunity to drive at no obligations the Discovery Sports, the Range Rover, the F-Pace Jaguar, and the Defender, the 2021 SUV of the year, as the 2023s continue to come in. If you're interested in employment, which they have at all levels, 512-236-0000. Come experience the team at Jaguar Land Rover of Austin. Jaguar, no ordinary cat, no ordinary car, and of course Land Rover, above and beyond, 1515 5th Street, Austin, Texas. And yes, I will be at Tractor Supply there in Dripping for the pet adoption tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't think I'll have tears in my eyes when my wife says, no, that one can't come with us. No, that one can't
Don't
go.
adopt a pet. Well,
that
that's what
one
you're out
can't
there.
go.
That'll be at Tractor Supply in
Yeah.
Dripping. We're all over the place this weekend. Callahan's, Tractor Supply,
Yes.
Top Gun rental.
Absolutely.
March Madness, basketball, having fun. Also watching the Longhorns over at the Dish.
And I'm looking for a dog.
You're in the market.
I'm in the market for, Yogi just turned, I almost called him Barney E. Barney
was
lasted
your
for
previous dog.
15 years. Yogi just turned 8, so it's that time.
All right.
For
And you got the
another great
property
Pyrenees.
for it. And,
I got property for it, yes.
And it sounds like
It's time.
Barney needs a friend.
Yogi needs a friend. Barney's already got a
Oh,
friend.
God, see, now I'm doing it.
Remember, I got you calling Barney. Barney's a goner.
Goner. But Yogi needs a buddy.
Yes, he does. Yogi needs to train.
Doesn't your wife have a little dog thing deal?
Yeah, that's an indoor dog. That's what are those dogs
we
called?
call it a little yapper.
It's a yapper, yeah.
I have a little yapper that doesn't yap a lot.
Really?
She doesn't. She'll bark at the TV when there's another dog on the TV.
Leg humper?
No.
Really?
No, it's a Maltese, like a little lap dog. She's great, but
How about the cats?
I have a cat.
We got the 2 outdoor cats now.
We got an indoor cat, Fergie.
Cats are as big
got
as
a big butt.
jaguar now. big butt cat.
Well, no, when we adopted the cat, my son, the cat had a big face and a big butt, so we called her Fergie. Fergalicious. Fergalicious.
And Ty, you still got the dog? Everything's still good with the animals?
Yeah.
And over there at the animal house?
We got the animal house. We got my girlfriend's cat over at my house for the weekend as well. So 2 cats, 3 dogs.
You bring visiting cats in?
She's a big, she treats her cat like she's a person. So she needs attention constantly.
Not an outdoor cat. Cat's not to get outside.
No.
Mm.
Doesn't even want to go outside.
Oh, really? No,
Oh,
thank you. Where's the air conditioning? That's how E's cat is, probably.
My cat? Oh, no. She's the boss, but, cats are really nice to you when they want you to pet them. Then every other time they're mean to you.
Oh, they just look at you
My
like,
cat's nice. She thinks she's a dog.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Does she
Dog
bark?
cat. Cat dog.
She makes weird cat noises.
I used to not have to deal with the cat because when we had kids living at the house,
They took care of the cat.
Cat would hang out with my wife and then with my daughter. And now it's just us, and it's like the cat's always wanting to come. I'm like, get away from me! You never bothered me before.
You never bothered me.
What's
Now
this
you want
about?
now you want to hang out with me?
Now you like me?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Wow.
But we're okay. Yeah, but have fun at that. Always good to
Love
adopt.
it.
Hey, so they had the UT Pro Day yesterday, Pro Timing Day. 10 Longhorns worked out. 4 of them worked out at the Combine last week in Indianapolis. Bijan Robinson was there yesterday but didn't work out. He was just visiting with teams. And I guess the guys that didn't get to go to the Combine that at least opened some eyes yesterday, I thought, were Anthony Cook, Jaleel Billingsley, who, whether he's been at Alabama or Texas, hadn't played much football. So even though he's a freak athlete, he's got no tape. And then I thought Deshaun Jameson acquitted himself pretty well. I think they'll all end up in a training camp somewhere when it comes around to that. But part of that, so here's the deal. So I'm such a loser, and I enjoy the NFL draft so much. Ty, I want you to start doing this. If you go to the Pro Football Focus, PFF.com, okay, they have something called a mock draft simulator. And it really is a pretty fancy piece of software because you can see this in front of you, Buck, on our screen.
Mm-hmm.
They have the draft order, and then you can pick the team you want to pick for, and then you can pick how many rounds you want to pick, and then you can advance the settings there. And so I've got it at it's halfway the Pro Football Focus board and half public board. So kind of what the consensus is on who are the top players. Then you can adjust care for positional value, which some teams really care for the premium positions, which most do. You can also draft for needs, and then you can do randomness, and you can set it at less. So I've set it, and what happens is the simulator will pick everybody else, and you can just pick your favorite team. So it kind of gives you a nice feel for who might be available when your team is drafting. Okay, and you can do this all the way through the draft. So let's just play it. So the Bears have the first pick. I push go start the draft, and it runs all the way down to the Cowboys pick at number 26, okay? And you can see how that works, but pretty fancy. But the first pick was Will Anderson. Texans took Bryce Young. Cardinals took Tyree Wilson at the top. C.J.
Yes.
Stroud to the Colts. Jalen Carter to the Seahawks. All that could actually happen. Houston
True.
comes back. So with the Cowboys on the board at 26, available players. And Anton Harrison, tackle Oklahoma, is the highest rated. Bijan Robinson, running back Texas. Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. Who would you take in that spot if you're the Cowboys at 26? Also, Will McDonald, the edge rusher from Iowa State. And this is all ranked by their rankings on top of the consensus in the public. So
I would
best
take
player,
Bijan, but they're going to take Michael Mayer if Bijan's there.
That's why I keep saying to folks that tight end, because you guys are saying corner, but if you look at, where the Cowboys may have to trade up to get into that top corner, because by the time they get on the clock,
right,
Joey Porter Jr., who you like from Penn State, was drafted by the Packers at 15. Christian Gonzalez, the corner out of Oregon, was drafted 6 by the Lions.
And kid at Illinois is just past that.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon is already gone. So you're already down to picking the 4th corner, which you guys like corner. Well, if you're sitting at 26 and your choices are the 4th corner or the best running back in a decade, or one of the top tight ends to come into the draft in a while, and you could take Bijan or Michael Mayer. Let me argue. So here's the deal.
Keely Ringo's still out there.
Well, wait till you get to the second round. We'll pick 58 for the Cowboys. So listen to this. So the Cowboys are going to lose Dalton Schultz. I was listening to some people yesterday that act like they were surprised that the Cowboys aren't bringing back Dalton Schultz. The Cowboys can't afford Dalton Schultz. The fact that they couldn't use the tag on him.
He's not taking less money.
No, he's hitting the market. Hitting the market. And by the way, he will be the number 1 tight end on the market. Evan Ingram from Jacksonville would have been, but the Jaguars tagged him. So he will not be available. So the Cowboys.
And those two are very similar in the way they play the game.
They are. But again, this is Dak Prescott's favorite target. He's the second leading receiver on the team. He scored a bunch of touchdowns. So Dalton Schultz is going to leave. Now, look, there's a lot of thought that the Cowboys are going to add a wide receiver by trading for a DeAndre Hopkins, or maybe even go try to sign Odell Beckham Jr., who they've already had conversations with. So if you were to do one of those two things, you're probably not looking receiver at pick 26. And let's also add to this that in this mock draft I just ran through the simulator, the top receivers are also off the board, right? Jordan Addison went to the Vikings.
Right.
Jackson Smith and Jigba is already gone. Also Quentin Johnston. How about this? In this mock draft, the Panthers took Quentin Johnston with the 9th pick. So those guys are gone. So now, again, you're down to the 4th wide receiver, the 4th corner, or you can take the number 1 tight end or the number 1 running back at 26.
Wish I knew how good Zay Flowers really is. He's a little dude.
Well, Zay Flowers, look at that, and already off the board from Boston College, your alma mater. He went 21 in this mock draft, this simulator, which again, this is not an exact science, but it's as close as you can get. So that's where I think the Cowboys are going to be, unless they trade up. They're going to be in a position to take what, because tied to the kid Dalton Kincaid I told you about at Utah, big time tight end prospect. He was already gone when the Cowboys are on the board in this.
Right.
He went to the Giants 2 picks previous at 24. Check that. The Jacksonville Jaguars took him at 24. So, again, this is why I think a lot of Cowboys fans, you may be in line for Bijan, but it might be more important to you to take Michael Mayer, the tight end, because you need to replace that person. And I know, Ty, you think it's Jake Ferguson, kid from
Wisconsin,
who they drafted last year in the 4th round. I know you like Michael Mayer, Buck. If you have a chance
I do.
to
I
get
like him
him
because he's a two-way. He's a run blocker and a tight end. He's big enough to do both.
And I also argued that after his combine performance, that Georgia tight end Darnell Washington will put himself into the conversation for the Cowboys with their first pick. Well, then you fast forward to the second pick, which is pick 58. I went with Michael Mayer with their pick at 26. And, your available players, you could take, how about Tank Dell, the wide receiver from Houston, probably the shiftiest and most, electric slot receiver in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys could tank him out of the University of Houston. And I want to look at running backs because I did one draft where Jahmyr Gibbs was still ready. There, no, Jahmyr Gibbs is gone. Jahmyr Gibbs off the board in this mock draft. So at that point, you go corner. What about Travius Hodges-Tomlinson from TCU? Like him? TCU corner, tough.
Yeah.
Nephew of or related to.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Or you could take Eli Ricks out of Alabama, Julius Brents, Kansas State.
Well, you can keep
like
Eli
him.
Ricks.
I like Brents.
Well, he's going to be. So when you get to the pick in the second, this is why doing this is helpful to learn how the draft may flow. Is that okay? We got our tight end who can help replace Dalton Schultz now and in the big picture.
Or we got our running back.
Or we took Bijan.
Yes.
To go with Tony Pollard.
Right.
You're still probably going to have to address tight end there. So
there's a lot of tight ends. You can still get them later.
And so I'm going to take you guys. Who do you like? You like Eli Ricks or you like Travius Hodges-Tomlinson out of a TCU?
I'll take Tomlinson.
Yeah, he was a dog, man. That guy plays with the chip on the shoulder you want out of TCU. Got the good bloodlines. 90th pick, the Cowboys own. Now you're talking about a guy like Devin Achane is going to be available. You're into the third round, deep into it. If you're looking running back, it's Devin Achane. There's a kid at UAB. But it's also the spot where you can draft Amoro Ojomo from the University of Texas if you're looking for an interior defensive line.
You already have a running back. What about Bigsby?
You like Tank Bigsby over Devin Achane?
I want to have one bigger guy.
Also, if you're looking for
he
corner,
is big, is he not?
If you're looking for corner in the third round, a guy like Jalen Jones from Texas A&M, a long corner, might be available for you. So play with that. It'll kind of teach you about the draft. It'll also make you feel like a real loser because it's like, you
get into it and you stay into it.
Well, yeah, because you can make trades, and that's what's really cool about that mock draft simulator at Pro Football Focus is like when you're on the clock with your team, you'll see trades pop up. Teams want to move up or move down.
If I'm the Cowboys and Bijan is there, I'm taking Bijan. Forget about the tight end.
Right.
I'll figure that out later.
Wouldn't you kind of have to? I know I just argued
yes,
against that.
You're talking about best player.
Well, yeah. So if you're sitting at 26 and the top 3 wide receivers are gone, the top 3 corners are gone, the top interior players are gone, which you're already looking for, and you have a chance because it's just the way the draft goes that you can not just take the best running back, but you can take maybe the best running back into the draft in a decade, at least half a decade, and then one of the top 10 best players in the entire draft.
So are you saying that the other guy is gone? The other
Who?
From Alabama, he's gone already?
Well, Jahmyr Gibbs is slated to go after Bijan, but somewhere before the Cowboys draft at 90 or at 58. So now there's a chance Jahmyr Gibbs could be on the board at 58, which is why the draft is a puzzle, right? Because if you go Bijan and then and then you pass up on a tight end that could start immediately for you, well then you could get to the second round and all of a sudden Jahmyr Gibbs is still there and you're like, oh damn. We should have taken that tight end.
Now you got 2 Tony Pollards, but one is faster.
Well, now you can't take Jahmyr Gibbs because you took Bijan, but now the top tight ends are gone. That's the uncertainty of the draft, and that's why it's such a crapshoot every year. You think you're taking the guy, and then all of a sudden,
you won't get any of the wide receivers, correct?
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be in a position to draft. And again, who knows? By the time we get to April.
Right.
Late April. It's 48 days from now is when this draft starts.
But there's only about 3 or 4 of them that you would take as a first rounder anyway.
Well, and let's also say this. The Cowboys, I just get the feel, listening to Jerry Jones, that they're going to try to address receiver in free agency and or in a trade. You keep hearing the DeAndre Hopkins story, and now they also might try to address corner in free agency or a trade, and that's where you've heard the name Patrick Peterson. And again, if you do that, you're expecting Patrick Peterson and DeAndre Hopkins to come in and start, which means you're not going to draft a receiver number 1. You're going to go different position there.
But I don't want that old all-pro cornerback. No thanks.
This says, why do the Cowboys need a tight end? Don't they have 2 on the roster that are pretty good? Well, okay. I mean, that's the Ty perspective. But guess what the Cowboys did last year? They didn't address it at wide receiver after they traded Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
They trusted the guys on their roster. They drafted a guy in the 3rd round named Jalen Tolbert who never panned out. And what do you know? Even Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are admitting now that, we didn't have enough wide receivers and weapons when it mattered most. And that's, you can say that, oh, man, Jake Ferguson and this guy Hendershot are going to be fine.
Yeah, but they better be catching 80 passes, not 25.
Or you lose Dalton Schultz, who's your second leading receiver on your team and Dak Prescott's security blanket.
Yes.
And you're fortunate to be in a draft that has – it's the best tight end draft in years.
Yes.
Where you have 4 guys that legitimately could be first-round type players with Dalton Kincaid, Utah, Luke Musgraves from Oregon State, and we just mentioned Michael Mayer, Notre Dame, and Darnell Washington, Georgia. All 4 of those guys are top 50 players. So, okay, well, then we can draft we're gonna trade for DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to draft a tight end in the 1st round, and then we'll address running back a little bit later and in defensive interior. That's kind of where the Cowboys are sitting right now in my mind.
The only reason they would pass up Bijan is to wait and still think they can get Roschon or somebody like that in the 4th or 5th round.
But again, the draft's about value, and at that point at 26,
he's the best player there.
Best value is absolute. And teams and the Cowboys have been really good at this. They reached on Tyler Smith last year because they needed a guard, right, and they needed a tackle and an offensive lineman, so they reached because the other top tackles were already off the board, but it paid off. Because they did their due diligence, and Tyler Smith turned out to be a good player, and he's a nice piece for the future. In this case, you typically want to take value. Who's the best player on our board? That's why you spend all the hours and days and years building that board. Let's trust it. Best player there is Bijan.
So are the Eagles going to pass him up at 10? All you Miles Sanders lovers out there, there's no way.
What's that? Pass up who? Bijan?
Yeah.
10? Yeah. Well, that's every mock draft I've seen has them passing. Maybe the Tampa Bay Bucks at 19 is the earliest you could see Bijan. But again, it takes one team that's not telling you anything that says, you know what, he's too good. That says y'all are way overrating Dalton Schultz. Well, okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think people have been underrating him actually for the last couple of years. The guy catches a lot of passes. He finds the zone. And this quarterback, who is not going anywhere, guys, loves this guy. And he finds this guy.
Second leading receiver on your team. If we're overrating him, why did they franchise tag him last year to keep him off the market? They would franchise tag him again, but they can't let Tony Pollard hit the market this year. Like when you can only use one. So
you have a team that needs weapons, and he's one of your weapons.
Trust me, next week when you're tuned in, you'll see Dalton Schultz land a pretty nice deal on the open market, which is what shows what your value is. The market will bear a lot of fruit, I think, for Dalton Schultz in the coming days. We'll be back. Wrap this thing up. Get your top stories reset. Get you ready for Light the Tower. Glad you're with us on B&E. Lock it in. Busy weekend. Lot to do. Like baseball, Texas Longhorns playing Manhattan this weekend. That should be a Longhorns should overwhelm Manhattan, let's be honest. And if they don't, be concerned. Texas State's playing this weekend, too. They've got North Dakota State down at Bobcat Ballpark. World Baseball Classic's underway. If you like basketball, boy, just turn on the TV. It's everywhere. The conference tournaments across the country. You know, we've got our special coming up 5 o'clock on Sunday, the March Madness bracket reveal special. We're going local with it with myself and Zay and Patrick to follow the bracket as it's revealed and where the Longhorns are headed, who the matchups are going to be, and our conversation on that over a couple of hours on a Sunday evening. Looking forward to that. Somebody said on the text line, maybe Cowboys can get Adam Thielen. There you go. What do you think the market will be for Adam Thielen now that he's going to be released by the Vikings? He's a 9-year veteran. Man, shoots good free throws, runs great routes.
He'll find the opening. He won't drop the ball.
Son of a coach. Never be a problem in your locker room.
Cerebral player.
Cerebral. This guy's got it all.
Great in the slot.
I do like Adam
Find
Thielen.
the opening.
No.
Find the open.
He's
not going to streak through your secondary.
But he's a good player.
9 years.
Real good player, and has been reliable as anybody. I liked him. If the Cowboys ended up with Adam Thielen to go with the optimism that Michael Gallup's going to get fully
you got two
healthy,
Michael Gallups. That's what it means. If Michael, that means you got
but
two
you already
of them.
have C.D. Lamb, and if you draft a tight end or Bijan, you've got another weapon. Because again, if you're,
I think the Cowboys need a streaker. They can just go through it. Yeah,
speed. Well, look, I mean, the Cowboys will likely be at this Odell Beckham Jr. workout that's going on this weekend. He can take the top off of defense.
He better
if he's
not
healthy.
hesitate. He better not. No hitch whatsoever. If I see a hitch, I'm like, nope, we're not going to do it. If he's just smooth,
here's the thing for Odell, right? When he was trying to get back into the league in December, he was less than a year from his injury. Remember, it happened in the Super Bowl, which is in February.
You're right.
And so now he's a month past a year. I would imagine he's going to be fully recovered and ready to go. And certainly you can project him what his health's going to be.
You can always project him not to do all the things you want to see as a wide receiver.
Let me ask you this on our way out: would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, or Odell Beckham Jr.?
I'll take Hopkins.
Ty?
And his 6-game suspension.
Ty, OBJ?
I'd take Thielen over OBJ.
D-Hop?
I'd take D-Hop over all three of those guys.
Me too.
You take D-Hop to go with CD, to go with Gallup, and then draft a
Is he going to be suspended for 6 more games this year?
You guys are going to get tired. I'm going to be on the Darnell Washington
Georgia
man. Tight end train, baby. I love that guy. 6'7", jump, runs like a receiver, blocks. Why wouldn't you want him? But Bijan will be an option too. Hey, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy all the hoops. We'll have your brackets. We'll be the doctors of bracketology on Monday, right? We'll fill it out with you. We'll also begin NFL free agency on Monday. We've got all the recap of the weekend that's coming, including the Academy Awards and Spring Forward tomorrow night. Don't forget, clocks go ahead 1 hour. And we'll be talking about all of it on Monday morning, 6 a.m. If you missed any part of today's program or any of our shows all week long, make sure you check out the podcast page at hornfm.com. Buck, have a great weekend.
You too, guys.
Ty, be safe. Be part of the solution, not the problem. Hit us up. Light the Tower is next.